Good evening and welcome to episode 32 of Endless Banter. Yes, I said 8 p.m. ish, and it's 8 p.m. ish. So, yeah, we're live. I know there's a fair few of you already in the chat box waiting away for us having a chat. And I saw Nikki did put in the chat that we are expecting a 15-minute countdown from 8 o'clock. So, I'm glad you're all expecting it. So, Mr. PH, how are you, sir? How's your week been? What are you drinking? What are them crisps like?
No, they're not crisps, they're biscuits.
What I thought, oh, any good?
Yeah, they're all right. I never ate all of them. Tasha had a dip, actually.
I didn't see Paul eat them biscuits, so I'm not stating anything. So, how's your week been?
I'm tired, man. Tired and grumpy, man. So no one needs to fuck me off tonight. I'll just tear them. I'll do an ads on them.
I did see your status 31 minutes ago, so I did sort of like see it like what.
No, I was doing some electrics in baby. I'm decorating the Sinead's bedroom, and I was changing over the plug sockets to USB plug sockets, and they're deeper on the back. So if you've got a thin box, you can't get the fucking plug in. And I snapped the back, but I've just had a fucking nightmare. So I just what I was doing,
shit about.
make sure it was safe, and just says fuck it. I'll carry on again tomorrow.
Yeah, but you've been out it for last what this week or all this week, haven't you?
Finished building IKEA furniture at 1:30 this morning.
I thought, why did you go a bit?
I'd literally rather go for a point with Stew Vapes.
What?
I said I'd literally rather go for a point with Stew Vapes. I fucking hate IKEA shit. No, I wouldn't. I'm lying. I'd rather build fucking 60 desks.
The real question is, how many pencils did you get? How many paper rulers did you get? And how many hot dogs did you have?
I don't like the hot dogs, mate.
Not even the ice creams.
Ice cream. I can deal with the 50p ice cream.
The problem I've got with IKEA is the shit drinks. They've all got some fucking random Swedish shit. It's never fucking like Coke or Pepsi or fucking out like that. It is literally just random cranberry and apple and shit. It's absolutely dire.
When we done the girls' bedroom not before Christmas, probably about 3 or 4 months ago. We went and got them the desk and whatever from IKEA, and then Ava was like, "We're going to need pencils for the desk." I was like, "There's fucking pots of them all around here, man. Fill your boots." About 6,200 million fucking pencils in the bedroom.
So what I do when I go to, if I ever walk into Buc-ee's, I make sure I got at least 10 blue pens. At least like that. So
how many Allen keys do you have from IKEA, Paul? Fucking too many.
So Dave didn't come round and give you an helping hand? Is that what you're telling me?
Dave was with me till 1:30 this morning, mate.
Fuck. Fucking building up IKEA furniture.
Yeah.
That is the fucking like. Did you do a bed?
Nah, she had a new bed not long ago. Desk, and then the back of the desk, which is a separate thing. Chest of drawers, bedside table, and another unit. Long, mate.
But don't you think the worst thing is about them? The instructions don't mean fuck all, do they?
You know what? To be fair, I think IKEA instructions ain't too bad. But like when you're doing it in Sinead's bedroom, it's the smallest out of the 4. So then, like trying to lay everything out to fucking do it, it's just a ball out. Like when we done the girls' room, their room's quite big, so it's easy to fucking lay it all out, get all your shit together. I know what's what, sort all my screws into piles, so I know what screws are what. Last night I was just like, fuck this, man. I couldn't be asked to do, but I needed to get it done. So tonight I thought I'll get on with the electrics, and then she's got the telly going up on the wall and whatever, so I needed to sort all the wiring out for that. So I started it, and then it just went to shit, so I just stopped. I changed all the other plugs out. It's just got the one plug to do, which is a fucking nightmare, but I'll sort that tomorrow.
So it's going to be fucking finished, finalised and done.
It'll be finished by the weekend because we've got a wedding. My nephew's getting married on Sunday, so.
Zach, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you obviously know Zach. He was at Expo with us in October.
Yeah, really good lad. So I'll have to send him a message, send my love, and I hope you have a good do. So how's your week then been so far? Has it just been crappy, just with IKEA shit. Is that what you're telling me this year?
Started decorating the weekend. So we had to strip it, paint it all. I papered on. We Tash started it Saturday afternoon, so we painted it Sunday. She rubbed all the wood down and fucking stripped the wall Saturday. We painted it Sunday. I papered Monday. Built the fucking furniture Tuesday.
I bet you were
Done
fucking
the electrics
on that
Wednesday.
vape.
Tomorrow the new telly's coming, so that'll go up tomorrow. And then, to be fair, it's just bits and pieces. I've got some.
What have you been using that vape? Like it's going out of fashion, putting up that fucking furniture. I fucking hate it. Well, talking of using your vape so much, Stoptober and converting smokers to vapors, Paul. Let's start with this as a subject this week. We all know it's the 3rd of October. We have the big campaign of Stoptober. I like to call it Stoptober and Swaptober because you're either stopping smoking and taking over vaping. So I like to call it swap. A lot of people call it different things. I want to hear some stories. So you've been in the game a long time and you've obviously converted the thousands of people from smoking to vaping. What's your most memorable stories? And what does it sort of give you a buzz when you change somebody over to it?
You know what, I can honestly say, even now after 6 years and however many thousand, I don't know how many starter kits we've sold, how many people we've converted, but I'd imagine, I'm pretty sure we'd hit 10,000 kits in our first 12 months of trading. Starter kits. I remember having a post up, or maybe it was at 2 years, we'd done over 10,000 starter kits.
That is fucking amazing.
Yeah, you know, it was the first year. We broke 10,000 starter kits bought and sold in the first year. And obviously back then, anyone that bought one was converting or buying replacement. But I'd say that 80% of what we sold in that first year was converting people. For me, the older the person, the more satisfying it is to think that you can get someone who's been smoking for 40, 50, 60. I think the oldest person we ever sold to was about 86. Came in the shop on his own and he was like, I want to try electric cigarettes. I was like, you need a mech, mate. You need a mech. And then for them people to come back in, and they're the one, look, they're that older generation, they're the ones that are still loyal customers because they don't trust anyone else. They come to you, you got them off the fags, they'll always come back to you. They're the ones that bollock us if we run out of the shady vaping menthol because that's all they use. And so, I mean, the older the person, the more satisfying it is to think that actually this new technology and this new, probably the biggest growing anything ever in our lifetimes would be, I would think, cigarettes, electronic cigarettes. But I genuinely now, even after all this time, still get a buzz when someone walks out the shop as a vapor, and then it's normally the second and the third and the fourth time you see them where you know they're fully tuned into it and they know what they're doing and that's what they want to do, and still really, really satisfying right up until now. It's nice.
One of the nicest things is, and it's not with that we ask for it, but whenever I've worked in stores and we've said come back and give a check in a couple of weeks and whatnot, and it's that not expected, but that thank you of you converted me. That is one of the nicest feelings.
Yeah, mate, I've had messages off people saying that you saved my life and that we've saved enough money to be able to take the kids on holiday. And to me, they're the nice things where actually, for me, anyone that, and I said this recently when we spoke about sort of selling and converting people to vaping. I still believe that most people that smoke would start vaping for financial reasons over health reasons. Because if it was purely down to health, you'd stop smoking.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And there's people that are diagnosed with cancer that don't stop smoking or can't stop smoking. There's people that are told if you don't stop smoking in the next 12 months, you're going to lose your legs, and they'll lose their fucking legs. So there's obviously genuine people that come in that are, well, you know what, I just don't want to smoke anymore. It's not healthy, and now I've got an alternative. But most people come in and they're like, I'm spending £100 a week on cigarettes, or I'm spending 80 quid a week on cigarettes, or whatever it is. And like I've said, you get yourself a mate along the AO Pro is now $32.99, so that's 10% off standard. That's without the discount codes. During Stoptober, Tom will be working on some listings tomorrow just to get some more starter kits that get a free Nick Salt or a free 6, 12, and 18 milligram during the month of Stoptober. Any codes that you've got are active on the anything, even including all the stuff on the website that's in the clearance section. Yeah, I mean, to get to someone to message or come back in the shop and it's the people that come in as doubting Thomases that are like, fucking hell, I'll give it a go, but it's spending the time. Like even Dave was around last night. We were building this fucking furniture. And he was on about sort of the cost difference between vaping and smoking, and he says even now he still uses that technique I used right back at the start, which was pretty much saying. And bearing in mind, when we started 6 years ago, I think a packet of fags was about £6, £6.50. Now they're 9 to 10 to 11, £12 some places for Benson's. If you buy an AO Pro for £32.99, 3 liquids for a tenner, packet of calls for a tenner, you're £50. I think we do that as a bundle for £50 anyway. So you get a Pro, packet of calls, 3 liquids for £50. You've got 100 cigarettes. 100 cigarettes is going to last you. It's going to last some people 5 days, some people 10 days. For me personally, it'd last me a day and a half. No, I mean I was 60 a day, so I'm doing 6 packets every 2 days. So you spend your money on Saturday, £50, and you come back in next Saturday, and you're already saved yourself £20 in that week.
Yeah.
On week 2, the only thing you've got to buy is 3 liquids because you've already got some spare coils because you already bought them on week 1. So you're going to spend a tenner. So by the end of week 2, you've saved yourself £90 over the course of the 2 weeks. Week 3, you're going to save yourself another £60, £150. Week 4, another £60, £210. So in a month, you could save £210. That's including getting a decent starter kit and spare coils and 3 liquids a week. There's some people won't use 30 mil a week. I'm using about 30 mil a week in mine. So on that basis, that whole saving money is a big thing for a lot of people. There's people that come into our shop when we first opened and then starter kits, then were £50 for an Ego style starter kit for a double kit and some liquids and whatever.
You spent nearly £100 on your first one, didn't you?
Yeah, it cost me for the standard kit from Totally Wicked was $69.99. By the time I bought the spare 1100 battery, I bought a packet of 3 C4 pluses, a packet of coils, and I bought 5 bottles of ice menthol. It cost me about £160.
Fuck.
There's something now that we'd sell in our shop for all of that for less than £40. And even then, when we opened our shop, we had the standard Ego kit. I think the cheapest kit we done was $24.99, which was a $650 Ego kit. Then we done it in the case with the lanyard and all that malarkey for about $34.99. I think an 1100 kit was $34.99, and then it went up to $44.99 with the case and the lanyard. We done a double kit for £55, which at the time was still the double kit was still cheaper than Totally Wicked standard straightforward 650 kit.
Yeah.
We done an Ego twist kit with T3Ss. They were at the time the Kangatex, which were a bottom fed. It was like basically it was just before that. It was around. It was a plastic version of a mini pro tank. It was that type of thing. I think they were about $59.99 for the Ego 1300 twist T3S Kangatech case, packet of coils. But literally, we couldn't hold that stock in the shop long enough.
No.
It was just like every day we were at the wholesalers importing and just doing and whatever. But we were still way cheaper than anything that was out there as a brand, which really was Totally Wicked at that time. There weren't nothing else out there that was branded in any way, shape, or form, really, or very not mainstream. Totally Wicked was the place to go for that type of stuff.
Do you think it's sort of like back then, sort of a lot of people said, you know what, stop smoking?
Sorry, start again, Tom.
I think I'm echoing. No, it's all right now.
I coughed and completely missed what you said, mate.
No worries. I'm saying, do you think more now? People back then were stepping into e-cigarette shops and turning around and going, "I want to stop smoking." Now, do you think a lot more people are forced in, like you've seen before, people coming in and, the missus had brought them in and said, you need to stop smoking. And do you think it's a lot more widespread now that people aren't being forced?
No, you know what? I don't actually. I think now, like more people got forced earlier on, and it was forced because people didn't understand it. But some of the wives or some of the husbands knew people that had been successful at giving up on an electronic cigarette. I don't even think it was so much forced to start vaping. They were forced to even come to the shop because it was so taboo. It was a bit like, oh my God, we're going to this place that sells these electronic wacky backy fucking devices. It was like there was literally that attitude around the shop. And now it's there's obviously still blokes that get dragged in by the missus because the missus has been vaping for 4 weeks, so she considers herself a pro vapor, and she's telling her old man he's got to get off the fags. And I still say to people now, if you've got the will to give up and you want to stop smoking, vaping would say would be 90% successful.
Mm.
If you want to save money but you don't want to give up smoking, vaping ain't going to work for you because you're just going to find an excuse to just keep smoking cigarettes. So even down to like buying the kit. When I first started, I'd already vaped on the vape stick for 11 months. I already knew that this could work for me. Albeit when I did fall off the wagon the first time, it took me 12 months to get back into vaping again. I tried numerous times and I just couldn't crack it until I got my first ego kit off Totally Wicked, and it was so much better than the vape stick that it's what I needed to not smoke again. And I said before, I'd done 3.5 years absolute solid without even having one drag of a cigarette. I had my first drag of a fag on my honeymoon, and then I went through about probably 6 months of dual using, where I had one drag on one night, and the next night I was like, yuck, it's twos on that. And the next night I had a fag, and then 3 days later I was smoking a couple of fags a day. I knew it could work for me. But again, for me, it was about this. You know what? I always refer back to like when I've gone to Fat Club, and I'd go to Fat Club, and I used to lose ridiculous amounts of weight very, very quickly, and because I knew I could do it when I put my mind to it, I didn't always put my mind to it because I knew that when I wanted to, I could. And I think with the vaping, because I'd been so successful on the vape stick, again, from the day that I bought that vape stick, I drove home from Costco, I set it up in my kitchen, and I had about 7 or 8 fags in the box, and I threw the box to Tash and said, right, I'm done. After I'd had the first 2 drags on this vape stick, and I was like, no way. I didn't even know it exhaled vape. I didn't know it. Well, to me, I didn't even know it was vape then. This thing's blowing out smoke. Feels like I'm smoking. Doesn't quite taste like a cigarette, but it works. 11 months without touching a single fag from that day. Not one, not a drag, not nothing. I never even lit a fag for anyone, although I didn't mind people smoking around me. I just vaped, and I just considered myself changing brand of cigarettes from whatever I used to smoke at the time to an electronic cigarette. I've seen people come in the shop and they're already being quite negative about their ability to stop smoking with an electronic cigarette, so especially newbies. And it's because they're trying to set themselves up for a fall if it don't work. And I suppose it's a bit like going to Fat Club and then not losing any weight. It's like, if you, especially like anything that I do, I'm very public about it. So when I've gone to Fat Club, every week I'd put my weights on my profile, and yeah, I've lost another £6, another £5, I've lost a stone, my first stone, my stone and a half, my 2 stone. I found that people come in and straight away they were like, I don't want to give up my fags fully. I just want to, I'll dual use. So if I can just use it at work, but I'll have my morning fag, and when I get in and have my tea, I'll smoke in the evening. But when I'm at work, I'll just use my vape. And I genuinely believe that's just them setting the stall to their missus that this might not work 100% for me. The satisfying thing for me is how many people come back into our shop after a week. And I worked that shop for the first 12 months every single Saturday and every second Sunday, as well as being down there every night after work. But I was in there every single Saturday. And the amount of people that came in at the start of week 2 to say, mate, I haven't had a fag since I left the shop. I can't believe it. And to me, they're like just like absolute testimonials to the fact that this shit does work, and there'd be other people in the shop. I mean, you've been in our shop, Tom, when it's been fucking 15 deep in there back in the day, and it was just constantly non-stop. It was every single shift. It was fucking from the time you walked in there to the time you left. It was madness. And I'd say that 60% of our daily sales for the first 3 years was people getting off cigarettes.
Yeah.
So within that day, every day when you're selling someone a brand new kit who don't know vaping from Adam, and you're trying to explain to them what it is, there's so many customers in there that say, mate, just buy the kit. I promise you, I've smoked for 25 years and I've had mine for 3 weeks. I've not touched a fag. It's fucking brilliant. They sold themselves. Themselves. Now, because it's more common, you've obviously got the people that go. I've found that recently we have a lot more people coming that have been either ill-advised or they're buying from the likes of Asda, or because obviously it's more mainstream now in them outlets where there's no advice whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I feel that like there's a lot of people now that are vaping the wrong device, the wrong strength liquid, the wrong mix of liquid. We have people coming fucking using sub tanks with 18 milligram 50-50 in them. And they're not lung inhaling, they've reduced the airflow and they're trying to smoke it like a fag and it just don't work for them. And we sort of a couple of years ago we got away from that because all the shops or most of the shops were quite good sellers. They knew what they were doing. I just feel like now there's a lot of people that are literally walking into Asda and going, actually, I'm going to try this electronic cigarette malarkey, and they buy the kit, they get home, they don't really know what they're doing with it. So then when it's faulty, they don't know what's wrong with it. They don't understand why it's burning, so they realise the tank's empty. Back in the day, mate, I had someone, I remember the geezer coming into my shop and he must have been 50, 55 maybe, with a C4 and the blackest liquid I've ever seen in my life. It was vile. It looked like them videos where they fucking extract the smoke 900 fags through them. And he was like, fucking tastes funny, this does. And I was like, what liquid's that, mate? And he's like, tobacco. And I was like, have you got the bottle? And he gave me his bottle. It weren't our liquid. It was just a tobacco liquid. It might have even been from my fancy one. They were quite big over in Tamworth at that particular time. And still, obviously, our fancy one's still a big company. And his coil was just like, I said, like, how long have you had this for, mate? 7 or 8 months. I know it was a long time using the same C4, mate. And I was like, oh my God. And he says, I bought it from the paper shop. He says, and the bloke told me the only thing I ever have to buy now is liquid. And I was like, nah. And I sold him a disposable C4. We used to sell them for $3.99. And I remember filling it up and putting it on his mod, on his Ego pen. And I primed it for him and I had a drag and I was like, try that. And he was like, fucking hell, fucking. And I was like, mate, how long was you smoking for? 30 odd years. How much was you smoking a day? Between 30 and 40 fags a day. I said, come in here every Friday, buy yourself a new tank. And it will taste like that forever. And he's the person that then went on to the Mini Pro tank and he went on to a better mod and then the E-Leaf. And to me, that I love them days. Them days are different. It's different in the shop now. We're still converting. I'd say we're probably in the top 10% of people in the country converting people from smoking to vaping because of the style of shop that we are. But before it was probably 8 out of 10 sales was a newbie or someone converting from cigarettes over to vaping. And we always had that constant vibe of, yes, I've done week 1. Yes, I've done week 2. Yes, I've done week 3. And while they're coming in saying they're at the 3rd week, someone else is coming in saying, yes, last Saturday I come in here and bought this. I've not touched a fag since. They were the best days ever. That's what I miss. I miss that whole thing. I love that. I love that fucking the vibe of people. Just everyone that come in the shop was just so happy that they weren't smoking cigarettes anymore.
If you could do anything to change that back, how would you do it?
I don't think we ever will because it's so mainstream now.
Do you think it's because everybody's got the opportunity to go wherever they want and whatnot? Do you think that's the reason about it? Because when we said before, we talked about loyal customers, and you get somebody off cigarettes and they are loyal and everything like that. You do have very very loyal customers, especially the older generation. 100% the older generation is perfect. Do you know what I mean? They're just then the loyalty of actually you've got them off cigarettes. They've got that mindset of I don't trust anybody else, like you said earlier. You know, people obviously go online now and stuff like that. And, like we've got the bundle and just how easy it is now to convert is for me, that's the reason why that's sort of slowed down, even in the fact of sort of information that's given to newbies. You know what I mean? Like you get that experience.
You know what I think? One of the things that and it was something we discussed on this show probably 5 or 6 months ago. And actually, it was this whole concept that even as much as I felt like I was focused on what we'd done in our shop and how we sold product in our shop and what product we stocked in our shop, I also believe that I truly lost my way in remembering that not everyone knows what I know.
Mm.
But the difference is when I'm on Facebook, just through the very nature of mixing with people that are similar to yourself or of similar knowledge or from the same sort of like me and you go back in this scene probably 4 years on social media,
Yeah.
if not a little bit longer than that. So all them people that I mix with on the daily, and especially when we're in mech addiction and places like that where we spent a good 18 months of the same faces, even if it's the same 30, 40, 50 people every night doing cloud videos, hand checking, sharing builds, sharing wicking techniques, sharing this, sharing that, sharing the other. You sort of forget that there's people out there that have not got a fucking clue, because the people that you're mixing with on social media every single day are at the same or better level than you, or somewhere within a region of the same sort of knowledge and understanding. And actually, after we've done that live feed, I can remember sending a message out to the shop saying, we need to make sure that we go back to basics with converting people and not be flippant in the way that we sell the product to them and not rush the sale and say, look, mate, all you've got to do is stick your liquid in there. We need to go back to what we were doing 4 years ago, which is spending half an hour with someone and explaining what the e-cig was, why, how many cigarettes a day do you smoke? Right, then we'd recommend a 6 milligram or a 12 milligram or an 18 milligram. Wherever possible, I'd only ever try and start someone off on a 12 on the basis that the products was much better now than what there was 6 years ago. I started off on 24 milligram, and actually vape 24 milligram until I went on to. I pretty much went from 24 to 12. Actually, I dabbled with 18 for weeks, and I was like, hang on, I can probably get down this, because the products were getting so good so quickly. But I've been on 12 now for 4 years, maybe 4.5 years. And I've tried, and some flavors I can drop down to a 16, other flavors are too smooth. And what I found with Nick salts for me personally is that I'm not getting the throat hit that I need when I'm vaping, but I'm getting the nicotine rush that I'd never ever get with vaping 12 milligram. So actually, like we're trialing our salts, of which
it's like trying to confuse your mind, isn't it?
there is 4 sample salts there. Actually, I'm not vaping anything like the amount of liquid with salt. Nothing like it. And actually, I'm chonging this all day, every day. So I'm doing 30 mil. I reckon I'd probably get through between 10 and 15 mil of salt a week, because actually I physically can't vape because I've got this nick rush, and my body's adjusted to that. I didn't like it at the start because I get a little bit fucking light-headed, and that's because I carried on chonging. I've learned now that actually I'm vaping, and I found myself at work, I'm vaping away, working on the computer, and I put it down, and then I'm just working away, and then I might have 2 or 3, exactly what Nick Salts is designed to do. I might have 2 or 3 drags and go, actually, I don't need anymore. I'll put that down. When I've got this in my hand, like, you know yourself, last week we spent all week working on the website and doing and fucking whatever, and I've done 40, 50 mil of 10 mils last week, just chonging non-stop. So
It's sort of educating your mind of the different styles, because
yeah, absolutely. And I think I tried to use the salts exclusive for a week, and I missed the throaty, but actually I did change the way that I was vaping, definitely.
Yeah. The new style of using salts is even to me is different. Yes, it is still classed as like a mouth to lung, but it is definitely the closest, I believe, to a cigarette because you are literally picking it up, few pulls, you put it back down, you leave it. It's like a smoke break. That's how you'd use salts, and I think it's definitely bringing in a different style of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the kits, even if you go basics, Nautilus AO, 24.99 or whatever we've got it at, and a bottle of Nick Salt, cheapest Nick Salt we've got is £3.99, and actually for 29 quid, you've got. I would say that you've probably got at least. Can't remember how I worked it out before. I was trying to. I mean, we done some not actual maths on 10 mil of liquid is equal to 60 fags. If you're smoking 60 fags a day, you will naturally vape more liquid because you will be in the habit of using that device at more regular times than what you would if you're smoking 6 cigarettes a day.
Definitely.
So I think we used to say that a bottle of liquid was probably the equivalent of around about 100, I think we worked out it's about 120 fags.
Fuck it now.
Just on the basis that when I first started vaping 10 mils, when I went away from the cartridge of the vape stick, I was getting around about 2 days out of a bottle, a 10 mil bottle. But prior to that, I was smoking 60 fags every single day. Some days more than that, very few days less than that. And if it was less, I might have smoked 52, 53, 54. I'd never have a day where I only smoked 20 fags, ever. There were some days where I'd be into my fourth packet, heavily into the fourth packet. So I might have been 70 fags in on the day, which is just fucking shocking. So I was getting about 2 days, 2.5 days out of a 10 mil. So I was a bit like, well, if I'm using that at the same rate I was smoking fags, then it's akin to about 120 cigarettes. So if you're smoking 20 a day, you might get 6 days out of 10 mil.
Mm.
And actually, with Nick salts, you definitely will not use as much liquid unless you're an animal. I mean, genuinely, I mean, I can't do it because it just don't work. I can't chong non-stop. And to be honest, I've been using free-base nicotine and salts because I actually enjoy vaping. So there's days where I want to chong, but I can't because I've only got Nick salts on me.
I do believe you get in that habit of being able to, just sit there and chong on your vape. It's down to a habit, the same as you would having a cig in your hand. It's accessible. It's more accessible than a cigarette. Sort of being able to just grab your vape and just hit it. I believe, and as you say, to sort of go through a 10 ml bottle and look at it as 120 fags, I would have never sat there and thought of it being 120 fags. And then you think, 120 fucking fags. I could sit there and maybe do a 10 ml bottle, especially like IVG stuff. You can sit and do a fucking 10 mil a day is easy, isn't it? You know what I mean? I know people. I've done fucking 60 mil sometimes in a day on a fucking sub home.
Mate, I've done 60 mil in an evening on a stack dirty. just fucking about doing, especially like when I used to fuck about tricking and doing. You going non-stop. I've fucking done 30 mil in a fucking afternoon, just fucking about at work in my office doing cloud videos for mech addiction. And
you could fit what 4.5 mil, 5 mil anyway in the dirty deck anyway.
Yeah, easily.
Do you know what I mean? So by the time you lace your coils, you know what I mean? You're fucking halfway through.
You could probably do. I bet if you put a fresh build in that with 4 mil coils, you'd probably use 6 mil of liquid, just wetting it up for your new build. So that's more than half a 10 mil bottle. Yeah. Then you do that video burning it, wasting 6 mil. I remember posting one day saying, I wonder how many litres of liquid a day are just consumed. People videoing vape coming off their coils.
Just burns you.
Mate. Hundreds of brands worldwide.
It's fucking crazy. But I think with the Stoptober thing, I think it's the best time because it is everywhere, regardless of if it's the NHS promoting Stoptober for obviously getting you off the fags and doing whatever with NRTs or whatever. I think the best time sort of to turn around to people who maybe not interested in vaping, but to educate because it is out there in mainstream media and basically they're turning around and going, this is Stoptober. And, we've sort of took that on as a side part. You know, Stoptober was never designed by vapors. It was designed obviously by the NHS to Stoptober for people to stop smoking during the month of October. And obviously we took that on. And I think it's great because we have took it on because it is put in the mainstream media and they are saying, you know, stop it. Well, if people don't want to stop, because we know there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of vapors out there that smokers that don't want to stop smoking. But if it's in the main frame and we could turn around and say, well, if you don't want to stop smoking, you don't want to take part in Stoptober, well, try it with vaping. And I think that's a very good thing that we've grabbed onto as vapors to turn around.
We done that. I mean, we started trading in the July and we'd done Stoptober that very first year we started. And then that was like the maddest, and that like really kickstarted us because there was a month of people going, you know what, I'm going to try it. And back then we done this maths conversion on every post that you put up was like, and because the whole ethos of our business was converting smokers to vaping. Now we're selling short fills, we're selling batteries, we're selling chargers, we're selling new mods, we're selling this, we're selling that, we're selling the other. And actually, we're probably not even pushing the new stuff. We'd never ever push to the new vapor like we should. But then every time we put a post up, there would be some sort of maths in there to say, do you smoke just 5 cigarettes a day? If you do, you can potentially save. I can't remember what it was. It used to be we used to have flyers, we used to have business cards. The reverse of the business card was 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 60 fags. And it had, if you smoke 5 a day, vape for that year, you still save this much money if you smoke 10 a day. And at the time, me on 60 fags a day, I was saving around about £5,000 a year.
Fucking hell.
In fact, more than that, mate, because it was over that. It was about £5,500 a year. That was including buying my starter kit, replacing the battery I think we'd done it every 12 weeks, a new clear moiser every single week, and 30 ml of liquid a week. And we sort of over-egged everything and said, even if you have to spend this much because some people even though they were spending 60, 80, 100 quid a week on fags, they'd still crib about buying a fucking clearomiser for $3.99. They'd get an extra few days out of it or an extra week out of it. And they're the same people that will go, oh, my fucking e-pen's broke, man. I've got to go and buy a packet of fags. I'm like, no, you don't need to do that, you mad geezer. Buy one of these for £4 and keep it in your wallet. When it's fucked, screw it on and crack on. Like, some people grasp that commitment to vape right from the get-go, and they're like, you know what, I'll take a spare battery, I'll take a spare tank, I'll take a few bottles of liquid, I'll try tobacco, I'll try menthol, I'll try some fruit, see what I like. And even if they came into our shop and spent 50 quid, 60 quid, 70 quid 6 years ago, which was quite a lot of money to spend considering the price of the products, whatever they spent then, I'd say to them, listen, you were smoking 20 fags a day, stick with this for 8 days and you've paid for it all. So even if you find it's not for you, stick with it for 8 days, throw it all in the bin, buy your cigarettes, and you're probably 8 quid better off or something.
People are a lot better off now, though, even with the prices of stuff.
Even now, because obviously the price of vaping gear has come down and the price of cigarettes is going up, so the savings are even more. Even more. And actually, to get that kit for $32.99 is the equivalent of buying a 650 Ego back in the day.
Telling you.
Like, literally. And that's a much, much better product. And it works for me. That works for me every single day. It always has. I fucking broke another brand new one the other day.
No!
No! I had one last week, didn't I? And I said, my pal had bought it, mate. And I went to town on Monday with Tasha, and she gave me the parking tickets because I met her there, so we was in 2 cars. She gave me the parking tickets, and I've got my wallet in my hand and my vape in my hand. And as I took my shit out of my pockets to get my change, and there was some rubbish in my hand. And in my mind, I threw the rubbish on the floor. So I was being a tramp, actually. But the other hand completely, I just fucking threw in my mud. I still got the rubbish in my hand, and it just fucking... Actually, what happens is on this, where you take the top out, and it's a lesson that I've messaged my shop as well for the same reason.
Watch this, because you're going to make it gargle now.
Nah, because I'll just do a fast flick. So on this one, you unscrew the top, and then your coil is on there. and then on the mod, you've got that piece there is pressed in or glued in or something, and then you've got threads on the inside of that, and the top just screws straight in. That's it done. I must have dropped in. It must land like that, bam, and it knocks that insert out of the actual tank. I was like, motherfucker. So I went and got my stabilised wood drip tip and fucking shot it across the car park, man. I was pissed off. On the same day, our stock arrived from China, and I phoned Disco up and I was like, mate, you coming over tomorrow? He's like, yeah, I'll come over. I was like, sweet, grab me a fucking AO from the shop.
I'm going to say, you've had about 3 or 4 now. 4?
What?
How many have you had now? 4?
I had 2 AOs, and the second one I only bought because my first one was scratched. And this is my 4th Pro. But the first 2 that I've got are still in this house somewhere. And actually,
so they're not broke.
I had one that was battered and I got a new one. And then when we had the resin ones come in, I just had a new resin one, but the other one that I was using was still okay, as was the first one. So them 2 are in this house somewhere, not broken. And then I dropped the resin one in fucking Manchester and broke that. Then I got one last week and I dropped it and broke it. And guess what, people? I never went back to the shop and says, fucking things fell apart, man. I was vaping at my nan's funeral. I swear on my sister's eyes, I haven't dropped it. And it's just fucking fell to bits. I was like, you bastard. But I messaged my shop and says, when people are bringing these in, but we've had about 4 or 5 back where that insert's come loose.
You know, they drop the fucker.
And you know what? I've said to him, you need to check every single part of that mod. If there's any damage on the top at all where it looks like it's been dropped, we can't replace it.
Yeah.
Normally, I don't quibble over replacing stuff, man. If it's broke, give them a new one, get them out there, make sure they're not getting back on the fags. But actually, if it's not our problem, I can't be funding people's habits, man.
But no, you know it by experience, and that's the best side to it. You have seen the experience of it. So anybody that's wanting to get their family, friends, anybody you know that is interested in vaping or maybe not interested, just give them the information. This is the time to do it, the month to do it. You know, as Paul said, we've currently got a bundle on the website. We are going to be putting more bundles on the website. So if you're wanting to, even if you're wanting a new mouth to lung kit or something, just jump on the fucking website and show people that this is what it is and get the information out there. This is the month for it. So that's it with Stoptober. You know what to fucking do. Get on with it. And don't drop your fucking AOs because Paul's not replacing them. So we got a few things to go over this week as well. We've obviously got the new section of Ask the Boys. I didn't actually ask Paul about Ask the Boys. I just posted it and then I wrote him a message saying, sorry, Paul, I've done something on Facebook. Hope you don't mind. And he was like, fuck off, I'm making cabinets. He won't really. So we got a few things to go over. So I saw today somebody post up, and I don't know whether you've seen it, Paul, or not, but there's a new tank on the market, and it's a disposable tank.
So I've got them coming in tomorrow or Friday.
What's your dead honest opinion on them?
Dead honest opinion, mate. I can't believe I never thought to do it. Serious, you know what? It sounds like I looked at them originally when they first come to market, and I seen them about 4 weeks ago, and I was a bit like, why the fuck would someone do that? Like literally. But in my head, it was about a rebuildable device, but it's not. It's about a stock call device that you throw away. Now, I believe, I might be wrong, and I might have to eat my words. I believe they're either $9.99 or $11.99 for 3 tanks.
$13.99, I think.
Well, ours will be about $11.99. That's a figure I've got in my head. But even if you say 14 quid, it's a mesh coil. Its fucking flavour is on fire. And I mean, the flavour is on point on them. For a mesh smart coil, you're paying anything between $3.50 and £5, depending on what size coil you've got. 3 coils is 15 quid. 3 tanks is 14 quid. To be able to, they're fucking leak proof. To just fuck it off and screw a new tank on and fill it up and use it until your coil's fucked. It just makes so much sense for me.
It's going to be a Do you think it would be an all-day tank, or do you think it would be something that you're using as, say, for instance, you're going out on a night out, or
I think people might buy these as a little fucking, I'm going to try one and end up using them.
Yeah. I saw them of like a convenience thing, maybe going away on holiday, because obviously it's not you can't open it and change the coil, so it's obviously, like as you say, leak proof. You just fill it up and use it till it's gone, dusted. But then I looked at it and I thought, some pods are fucking more expensive than fucking what that is.
No, that was my point when I first seen it. I was thinking, fuck me, that's quite expensive, that is. But then it's not. Like some TVF12 calls are a £5.50. But when we first started selling TVF12 calls, mate, I was paying something like £4.10 wholesale, buying them in quantities of 100.
You could wear them fuckers in and get your money back in steel, but you could wear them fuckers.
Crazy, like they're retailing. I think we've always sold them in Yardley, or like back then we were selling them for £6 or £6.50 a coil, which I found extortionate for a coil.
It was, and it even went to like the 8 coils in it, because obviously they did like the 8 and then the 12 coils, and then obviously the price that went up on wholesale.
It was just crazy. And then when we bought Dudley, £8 a coil they used to charge in that shop for a TVF12, the Q12 or the V. I don't know what. I didn't even know what.
It's fucking like 90 fucking variants.
£8 a coil. So on that basis, if you say, even all right, if I've got this wrong and they are £14, that's working out at £4.30, £4.33.3 for a tank. That actually, for me, the one that I used lasted me a week and a half. People are moaning out there saying they're getting 2 and 3, 4 days out of a smart coil.
Yeah.
Now, where this becomes expensive is if you get the Duff one.
Yeah.
Then you can get a Duff coil. We don't change Duff coils on the basis that if you put it in the shop and it's Duff in front of us, we'll change it. If it's Duff thereafter, it's just one of them things, unfortunately. But you know what, mate? The quality, the airflow is good on it, the flavour is good on it, and whatever wicking material they use with the mesh core works really well.
So Jack said, we'll make a killing when vendors need test tanks at Expo, etc. Well, they're perfect for that. For me personally, I would use them as if I was going out and I needed a tank and I didn't want to go halfway through the night and go, fucking hell, I need a new coil or whatever. You just literally have a fucking other tank, screw it on, fill it with juice off your fucking pot. It is exactly the same as like a pod. I was a bit dubious when I first saw them. I was like, fucking hell, you know what I mean? It's disposable. People are going to turn around and say 14 quid for disposable. But then you look at it in the aspects of coils.
That's for 3 tanks, though, mate. That's not per tank.
No, it's 3-pack in it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I think, because a lot of stuff is coming out now as disposable. A lot of stuff is disposable. Maybe that is the more convenient thing. On your travels, you can leave it in your car. You haven't got to worry about
anyone that can use a disposable system that works for them, even if it costs them an extra £10 a month, £20 a month. For me, it's money well spent, because it makes vaping even easier. And if you can say to a customer, buy these tanks, it will last you anything between 3 days, which it could, to a month if you're using one nice clean liquid that's not got fucking packed off its head with sweeteners and fucking WS23 or whatever the cool hard is, because they're fucking hard on coils. I now get about a month out of an AO coil. So even at fucking retail, they're £3 each, I think, £2.99. So it's costing me about 75 pence a week for a coil. If I'm using even 6 liquids a week, which I'm not, that's 20 quid retail. So that's £20.75. And providing I'm not dropping my AOs on the floor, I'm yet to have one fail on me. The longest I used one was my first one. I used it for 11 months. And I was just at the shop one day when the delivery come in. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm treating myself to a nice clean one that's not battered and scratched. So 20 quid a week for my liquid and my coil. So it's £1,000 a year versus 60 cigarettes a day at night, 27 quid a day.
No comparison. No comparison at all.
So on that basis, if I'm spending 1,000 a year to vape, I'm saving currently
Fuck me.
150, 7.5 grand a year.
Fucking madness. Do you think it's going along the lines of a lot of disposable stuff? Do you see that coming in a bit more?
Yeah.
Like with what we've discussed previously about obviously the powers that be and stuff, and obviously because to me personally, like you start with a mouth to lung because it's a sub-arm tank, isn't it?
Yeah.
So to me personally, like you start with your mouth to lungs, and somebody that wanting to go to a sub-arm tank who doesn't want the mess of changing coils and stuff like that could try something like that and see how they got on with it. That to me, that's another step in where customers should be. So you're starting with, your ego style or a mouth to lung, sort of like your AO. Then if you want to move up to maybe start sub-ohm, you could jump into that disposable tank because it'll run on any other mod, won't it? Just screw it on. It's a regular 510, you screw it on, off you go. You don't want the issues of, changing your coil and all that. It's disposable, take it off, throw it in the bin. That's another step where the learning curve is for me. So it seems like a little bit more, not just the product, but the learning curve is coming back because people want to feel how that vapes, but don't want the hassle of changing coils and knowing what coils got to go in here and go in there. And
No,
so,
for me, that's. I mean, I love pod systems. I've tried every pod system back to the bow, and when all that fucking first pod systems come out 2 years ago, and I was like, these will be big, and they should have been bigger. Maybe they were too ahead of the. No, you know what? They weren't even ahead of their time. They came out at the boom of the sub-ohm fucking craze. Well, actually, because squonking brought a lot of people from sub-ohm into plus ohm mouth to restricted lung. They've then gone mouth to lung. Pod systems are flying at the minute.
mm,
And mouth to lung generally is flying at the minute. He's just come back full circle. And for me, that's good because it means that as a mouth to lung vapor that retails this stuff myself, I've always struggled to get a decent kit because everyone spent the last fucking 3.5 years making sub-ohm devices.
yeah, you've always been that sort of the ambassador for mouth to lung and how mouth to lung should have been better. And it's sort of gone that way, hasn't it? And that is one of the questions for later on. So we spoke about the disposable tank. It's a bit of a yay. I've put yay or nay, and obviously you've said yay. I'm a bit of a yay for it. I'm questionable whether I like it or not, so I'm going to make sure I try one. I like the whole thing about it. What time is it now? So we've got one more thing that we're going to talk about before we get on to Ask the Boys, because we've got a fair few questions in Ask the Boys. I like the Ask the Boys. So thank you to everybody who did submit a question. The next question is, and you did mention squonking just a minute ago. Do you think mainstream squonking has lost its hype?
Again, I think it's probably still as common in the circles it's in, but people that have tried it that don't like it just have gone back to whatever they're using, and the people that do it aren't so fucking Facebook happy to post up the picture of their £600 stabilised wood mod. I don't even mean that in any sort of derogatory way. Like obviously, if you think back 3 years when Endless launched, we launched at the peak of. In fact, we didn't. We launched at probably the first incline in mech vaping. It's certainly in my time as a vapor. We were selling probably 30 to 40 regulated devices to every mech that we sold in the shop, and I still felt that mech was going to go big, and it did. And we were lucky enough to surf the biggest wave and change the way that whole part of that industry was with our own products. Straight off the back of that, squonking became a mad thing. And actually, the year before that, I predicted that squonking would be the next big thing. And it was the only mod that we've never made to date.
Mm.
And that was more because I couldn't get it right for what I wanted it for. And in hindsight, I was probably I wanted a series squonk box. I wanted something that satisfied the people that we were targeting our mods to with the convenience of squonking. In hindsight, I didn't realise how much people's vaping style had changed while they were squonking. So that's just one of them things where you miss an opportunity, and that's the way that it is. But I just think now that because squonking became so mainstream, it's just another way of vaping. People that come into the industry now are probably aware of squonk right from the get-go. I mean, squonking's weren't a new thing last year and the year before. People were squonking 6 and 7 years ago. But they were proper modders, like they were people that's why they're called mods, because people modified shit to me, and they're like, no, well, look what I've done. I've screwed a bottle onto this and I've got doing this. And I think for the sort of mainstream vapor 6 years ago, it was all a bit like, seriously, why the fuck have you done that to your mod? I can remember Tasha saying, we've got some Kangatech launch one, and the port, was it the E-Leaf?
No, Council of Vapor. Council of Vapor did one.
Before Council of Vapor, though, there was the E-Leaf Pico.
Yeah, the Pico Squeeze. Yeah.
Kangatech launch one, Pico Squeeze, Council of Vapor. And I remember doing a live feed, and in fact, I remember saying to Tasha, the minute these people have launched squonking, it will become a big, big thing. And that was probably in the summer of 2016 when we had them mods in. And then at Expo in October of 2016, I remember talking to Tom and to Anthony from Little Big Chef, and there you go, I've just given them a fucking free plug and they're not even here. But I remember saying, like, I remember them saying to me, what do you think is going to be big? And they weren't asking me because they were just trying to pick my fucking brains, really, to see whether they could fucking ride my wave, the pair of cunts. But I remember saying to me, you know what, I think squonky, man, I'm going to get onto it. And to be fair, we got onto it with the manufacturer. I just couldn't get it right. But like I said, I think my vision of squonking was, how do we get a series box at Squonks where you can blow them big clouds, you've got a big airflow, but you've got your fucking ability not to have to drip and drive. You can just squeeze your bottom and fucking crack on and do what you're doing. I didn't really appreciate the likes of Ollie Deeks that could blow a cloud fucking 40 foot long, was running a 0.62 build on his squonk, and he changed the way that he vaped to the point where I seen him sell all his soys in the week, and he's just like a different vapor than what he was 2 years ago. So that was why I missed the squonking opportunity. Actually, I was trying to crack something that probably didn't need cracking, to be fair. And I just think now, if you're coming into the vaping market, because squonking's so mainstream, people are aware of it and they'll try it. And if they stick to it, they just squonk vape. Or some people still tube vape, or some people still mouth to lung vape. The whole hype has gone of actually, this is the thing, because it's just another thing now. That's more personal. I don't think squonking's any less popular now than it was last year. I just think there's less hype around the fact that this atty, that atty, the other, because so many atties now for that market of much of a muchness.
Definitely. I think the mainstream of people, as you said, have tried it. Whoever didn't like it sort of left it, went back to what they were using, and the guys that sort of were hardcore skunking anyway have stuck around, and it's like just in the background of, it's still a part of vaping, but it's not what it, it's not screaming from the shout, going squonking's the best thing, because you have them sort of hype moments, and there was a big boom in sort of seeing regulated squonking in the market, and there obviously still is that everyday vapor sort of use to go out and go buy sort of like your Pulse and stuff like that, your everyday squonker. But I don't believe that the hype is there like it used to be. And as you say, it's sort of not that it's still there, it's just mellowed out, and that's with a lot of things in this industry. It seems to sort of have a big boom and then does mellow. So I just wanted to clarify that, because I know you never sort of got massively into squonking yourself, so I didn't know if you.
No, you know what? I'd probably be better off squonking now, because in the last 12 months, and I'll use 12 months, which takes us into the arse end of last year, I can't remember a product that launched with any sort of hype apart from when we launched the Emmy back in February. Genuinely, because actually when we launched the Emmy, it was just a flip end of fucking mech tube vaping. People hadn't done it for a long, long time. But the amount of new product that comes into market now, mate, where it comes in and it's either just becomes a mainstream thing or it falls by the wayside, is daily.
Yeah.
And I'm not even, as a retailer, I'm not even aware of some of the products that are out there. That's probably because I don't use them like I used to. But actually, I don't even think it's that. The last thing that come to market that was like everyone going, fuck, can't wait for this to drop, can't wait for this to drop, can't wait for this to drop.
I don't think that it's you not in tune with it. I believe that there's that much to see. Sometimes it is quite difficult to keep on top of it. I don't think it is sort of you're not looking for it, not purposely looking for it, and it's products don't land on your feet and you go fuck it, yeah, I'm gonna have it. You know what I mean? I think there's that much product out there to keep on top of. It's can be quite difficult to what is the next thing.
Yeah, it's daunting, and I mean, a lot of people will say, "Oh, fucking smoke is shit." We've probably sold more smoke devices through our shop than any other device ever in 6 years. And our returns rate percentage wise is no greater than anything else that we've sold.
Mhm.
We get more smocks back, but we're selling 20 smocks for every other device that goes out the store. So we're going to get more of them back just on a percentage side. The percentages aren't higher, there's just the volumes are bigger. But for me, from an Alien to a Mag to a fucking Majesty to all the H priv, the T priv, literally, it's like me going out today in a fucking Stone Island coat, and tomorrow a CP coat, and the day after a puffer coat, and the day after a fucking blazer. They're literally the same shit wrapped up in a different coat.
Yeah,
And from my point of view, as a retailer, I lost the the will to want to force new product on people when what they're using is exactly the same as what we're selling, but it's got a different coat on it. Now that affects our sales. But quite honestly, for me to tell someone, "Oh mate, you need to get the new Smart Mag, it's fire," it's what you've got with a grip on the side.
yeah,
Where back in the day, it was a new product. It had more wattage. It had temperature sensing on there. It had all these different things to say. You know what, mate? It's better than what you're using. It's a
yeah,
better product. And actually, for your style of vaping, you'd benefit from the 120 watts over the 80 watts or whatever. Now you got 225 watts. Fill your fucking boots on whatever you like the look of, because it is what it is. And then it is down to aesthetics. But we don't sell products now like we used to, based purely on someone saying, "Fuck me, that new mod looks sick. I want one of them."
yeah.
There's still people out there that do that. But I'd say again, 15% of vapors change shit because they want new shit.
Yeah,
The other
shiny eyes, isn't it?
80% of vapors change shit because what they're using is broken.
Yeah, it's a shiny eye, isn't it? The majority of
Yeah, but I don't think people suffer with shiny arts like they used to. I know I don't. Like I said, I used an AO for 11 months. It was battered and fucked. And I could walk into the shop every 2 days and pick up a brand new one, so my mod always looks fresh. And I used to, everything that ever come into our shop, I'd have it delivered to my house before the end of that night, so I could build it, try it, use it, fuck about with it. Then I was a bit like, look, we've done a raffle here, mate, where I emptied out my cupboards and we raffled off, I don't know, £2,000 worth of stuff, and we raised 500 quid of literally brand new stock that I bought from the shop that never ever got used.
Mm.
I'm saying to Tash, why the fuck are we doing this? It's literally just money out of our own pockets that I'm then selling off cheap. When in reality, I could have just stuck it in the boot of my car and drove it back to the shop. It was brand fine there.
Yeah,
I don't need it. I don't need to keep doing this.
yeah. The mindset of vapors of actually having a device that works and it works for you is definitely there now. That actually I don't need to pick this up because
Asking about the Dead Rabbit RTA, we've got them in stock and we got them tonight, and they'll be available tomorrow. I'll tell you what the price is going to be in 1 second.
have you got it in purple?
We've got it in every single colour, mate.
There you go. So Vicky wants one in purple. There you go.
So we're going to have them at £29.99. Obviously, the discount codes apply, so you're down to 27 quid. We've got it in. Let me just see if I can find a picture of
I hate keeping you on. Lazy and scared. Get and try it. We got the rainbow.
I will do a screen share now very quickly.
Let me show you. There you go.
So there's purple, gunmetal, gold, blue, silver, rainbow, gloss black, matte black.
When are they going live?
They will go live tomorrow.
I'm still on the screen. Click on the green. There we go.
So they'll go live tomorrow. So if anyone wants them, you need to be fast because we've not got a massive start. I've got some of them.
What they need to do is they need to go onto the website now. And if you haven't got your notifications on, you need to get your fucking notifications on so you get a notification when they go live.
Exactly, because we will ping out a notification of when they go live.
So there you go. Right, let's jump on and let's start the new section I would like to call Ask the Boys. We've got a fair few good questions actually this week, Paul. I'm quite happy with the response we had. So thank you to everybody who did go on to my post and ask some questions. So the first question is from Neil Pugsley, and it says, serious question, Tom, because I did ask for serious questions. I've got a few stupid questions, but I did ask for serious questions. But this one is, how does it feel knowing that you're going to be doing the 32nd week of Banter? Did you ever think it would be such a huge hit? I'll pass that over to you, Paul. And with that question, I'm sure there's a question that goes with it as well that somebody else did ask. So I'm going to ask that one at the same time. And it believe, let me just have a look. What made you guys decide to start doing Banter? So what made us start doing it? That was from Loki. And it's also what made us decide to start doing endless banter. And obviously, we're now into the 32nd week of Banter. And did we think it'd be such a success?
The reason why I wanted to do it was purely just to have a laugh and a joke and a chat, and not just be about pushing product. We've just said that we've got the RTAs coming. But what I didn't want to do was have a 2-hour show every week where we were just going, yeah, and we've got these product in, and we've got these products, and these products $27.99, and this one's $6.99, and blah 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 blah. Actually, just it's nice for me and you. I mean, me and you don't talk a lot in the week. People might think that we're on the phone every day, and actually we don't. You're doing your job, I'm doing my job, and we're working, and we'll catch up when we need to and whatever. But actually, it's nice for me to have a couple of hours of your time and have a laugh and a joke with you. We never get massive numbers. We've got 24 people watching currently, and quite honestly, I can pull bigger numbers driving home from work doing a live feed about fucking some cunt on a bus. It's just so it's not about that. It was just literally about something that we do that the regulars come in and they get involved on, and that tonight the chat's been really busy, which is fantastic, and people talking amongst themselves and talking about what we're talking about, and that was it. And did I think it was going to be a big success? I don't think it's been a big success, really. I don't, you know what I mean? It's not like we've got 2,000 people tuning in live every week and people fucking ranting and raving about Banter. It just is what it is, but I enjoy doing it, and I think I might have missed 2 in that 32 weeks, maybe 3.
Which is live. We've all both got lives as well, you know what I mean? For me personally, the success of it is seeing the same people come back every week to watch us. And we are literally, you know, I do have a schedule that I do write down every week, and I make sure we've got stuff to talk about, because we don't want to come on and we may just sometimes talk shit for 2 hours, but it's not something we plan. You know, we do plan a show, and it's nice to see the same people coming back and interested in listening to us and getting involved. You know, as Paul said, this wasn't us planned out to go, right, Paul, we've got this opportunity. Let's just promote as much as we can. You know, we sit here, we talk about our past, we talk about vaping current, we talk about news, we talk just about absolutely everything. And the success for me is not just you guys coming back every week. It's when Paul gets a phone call and says we do a 45-minute set on a Saturday and a Sunday on the stage, because people have actually noticed what we speak about. You know, that we are real people. You know, we don't come on here and put on a facade. You know, we're not. Everybody that's probably in this chat has either seen us, met us, spoke to us, pals, whatever. You know, and you know we're like the same as we are on here. So the success to me is a total different meaning to having 2,000 people. I'd rather have 25 real viewers than 2,000 fakes who just want to fucking lick our ass.
No, absolutely. That's what I like about it.
You know, that to me it means a lot just to see, like as I said in a previous show, Nikki and Pixie and me have a race who has the first comment in the chat when I post up the link for the actual show. And to me, that's mint because I know they're going to be on. I'm always writing first as soon as I write it. And it's just a little bit more of a communication. And you know, you're actually realizing these people are real. They're here for a reason. You know, there's people currently we're sat in our own houses, and there's currently people sat here with us on 49-inch screen TVs. I've already had a picture tonight say you look beautiful on a 49-inch screen TV. You know what I mean? People are taking their time out to do that, whether it's 10 people, 5 people, 2 people. You know, we enjoy doing it. And I messaged Paul before saying this is going to be a good show. We've got this going on. We've got that going on. We're going to do this. And usually it ends up in a shit show and we have a fucking laugh for 2 hours. But that's what it's meant to be, you know what I mean? That's what I enjoy about it. So if anybody thinks that we're sat here going, fucking hell, 22 viewers, you know, we're on top of the fucking world, we're about to take over. It's not about that. It's about us being able to communicate with you guys in a different way. So you guys are making this a success, not us. You know, we wouldn't, I know Paul wouldn't waste 2 hours of his life if he knew that I would just talk to him for 2 hours. You were like, fuck off, Tom, go to some work. I'm kidding. So we got some more questions. Taz Dean wants to know, Paul, what brand of boxer shorts do you wear?
I'm not even gonna lie, right? Every single pair of boxer shorts that I own are Calvin Klein. But I do own about 3 pairs of Ralph Lauren ones.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I do own 3 pairs of white fronts.
I'm exclusively Calvin Klein, mate, and I only wear the Ralph Lauren when they're the last 3 pairs of boxer shorts in my drawer.
I don't wear boxer shorts. And I don't wear white fronts. I'm currently commando. So yeah, there you go. That's your fucking answer to that one. Right, let's get down to some nitty gritty questions. And yeah, so the first one was from Adele Rayner, the lovely Adele Rayner, and it says, "What's your biggest issue within the vaping industry?" Paul, I'm going to hand this one straight to you. What's your biggest issue in the vaping industry? And I'm not saying what issues have you got. I'm just saying what is your biggest issues. And I think this is across the board because there is some other questions that go well with this question as well. And you can say there isn't any issues.
No, there's lots of issues, mate. I'm just trying to really think. I'm trying to be constructive more so than just go, oh, I'm fucking fed up of arseholes. For me personally, at this minute in time, one of the biggest issues is genuinely the threat to vaping in the UK. And I think I've been, again, I don't know if you've seen tonight, Ohio have announced that CBD's been banned in the state. And for me, the way America's going this last one, when we discussed it last week and you dropped an exclusive in the show last week as it come through live, that they're literally downtrodden on the industry at the moment. I worry that filters through to the UK at some point. Whether it will or it won't, I don't know. It remains to be seen. And then I still think TPD is a good thing. I just think it needs amending. It needs amending to include short fill, so people can't just be making short fill after short fill after short fill with no regulation, really, and sort of backdooring the regulations, which is what they're doing. It's not illegal because there's a loophole. It is a loophole, and they've got around it. We've got 4 flavours there for Nick Salt. It's £4,000 I've got to spend to TPD before we've even sold a bottle of liquid. If we could Short fill it cost me nothing. Just get them made and sell them. Jobs are good. But these flavours are fucking fire, mate.
That's not an issue. So we'll we'll keep that positive. They are positive. We're on a positive. We're on a negative note at the minute. What's my biggest issue in the industry? Without talking about other stuff I'm going to mention later on in another question, my issue in the industry is the control. We currently are very much slipping with control of this industry, as I believe family-run businesses and stuff had the fucking game in their hands. Paul's a family-run business. A lot of the big names in this country are family-run businesses, and as Paul's mentioned, week after week after week, there's a bigger fucking picture. There's a bigger agenda to what's actually of the big players. I feel like if we don't grasp very quickly, we could lose it very quickly, because we've been here we're pushing 6.5 years now. 6.5 years is a fucking long time. Not even monetary value, just time investment in this industry. And it's been run from every day, just an everyday person, just a regular person. It's not been pushed in this 6 years of millions and millions of pounds from people who sat there. And I know Paul sitting there and going, I'm sitting here and I didn't come in the game with £1 million and go, fuck it, I'm ploughing it into this. You know what I mean? Paul came in with very minimal money and gained the money from being a business and doing what he had to do at the time. Sorry for speaking out of place here, Paul.
No, not at all, not at all.
And sort of that to me, that's the worrying part in the industry, is that we need to keep hold of this, grasp hold of it, and sort of make sure everybody's working in the way of sort of keeping our own family-run businesses. And don't get me wrong, we've said in the past, Paul said it in the past jokingly, I know Big Tobacco coming tomorrow and offer anybody money. I know it's very deep to Paul's heart, all the work, the time and effort him and Tasha put in. And we joke and laugh about it and stuff, but it is very close to our hearts. We've put a lot of time and effort into this, not just monetary value, time. And to me, I think if we don't stick together and everybody sort of keeps their pulse on the game and everything like that, we're going to lose it to bigger means. So that's my biggest worry in the industry, is keep making sure that the family-run businesses, people that are actually making money from the shops to put money on plates and feed their families and kids, rather than big corporate companies that are coming in and ploughing in money and just putting money back into a pot. To me, that's my main worry. So I'm sorry to be a bit dark on that, but
no, you know what, Tom? I think the thing for me is that there's like out of some of the core sort of companies in the UK that started when we started, that became bigger brands, bigger names, bigger businesses. There's only a handful of them that were actually run by businessmen. Now, I'm not proclaiming to be businessman of the year, but I know enough about business to look at this and run it as a business and as a passion as well. That said, I've never done anything that's cost me money just because I'm passionate about vaping, because I'm not a fucking mug. On the other hand, I've sold stuff cheaper than we should have sold it for because I felt that we should have sold it cheaper. But there's lots and lots of people that did make and have made a huge amount of money that actually couldn't string a fucking sentence together, if I'm being honest, and people that would never ever have made money in any other industry apart from this industry, because it just grew for everyone. No matter what people were selling 5 years ago, they made money. Simple as that. And I think now you've obviously got the likes of the Burr brothers and Sharon, the mum, who started Evolution from a shop with an online store that are probably the biggest distributor in the UK right now. And for me, to see that happen to a family is fantastic. Genuine. I've got absolutely none of this like, oh my God, how the fuck did they manage to get so big? They've done a fantastic job of growing that business. And to the point where them boys will be worth more to Big Tobacco than they'll ever be worth as a business, because they're and I don't know what James's turnover is. I'm guessing several £1 million a year, whatever it is, it's in the millions more so than it's in the hundreds of thousands of pounds, most definitely. And for their database of businesses, it covers a big area because they're shipping out to Canada, America. They're shipping out to a load of European countries. I'd imagine that they're into Russia and them sort of countries now. So their database of potential business is worth big money to Big Tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
And distribution companies are being bought right now by Big Tobacco because they want it from the start right the way to the fucking retail end. And I've, like I said, all the way through, I've never been one of them people that say I'm not selling out. I'm not selling out. If I get offered the right dough, mate, I'd sell it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's because I genuinely feel like I've achieved what I wanted to achieve from this business, and I've had the years of satisfaction, and I've had the years of making good money, and it's given us a good lifestyle, and it's given us a good living, and it's enabled us to employ 12 or 14 people over them 6 years. And if I walked away tomorrow, mate, I'd walk away with my head held high, knowing that we made a massive impact on what is the biggest growing industry ever in my lifetime, and probably ever in my kids' lifetime. And from that point of view, I'd be comfortable selling up. It doesn't mean I'm not passionate about what I do anymore. I've already achieved what I want to achieve just by the fact that people know who we are, and then dropping Endless was probably, I wouldn't say more satisfying, as satisfying as the shop. And I don't know, I just feel like I've achieved what I wanted to achieve from it, and quite honestly, achieved more than I ever dreamed would achieve, because I never expected this to become what it become. I never expected vaping to become what it become. Like I said, the first shop I ever seen ever in Birmingham was Matt's dad's shop.
Yeah.
And genuinely drove past it and drove all the way from Erdington to my house, which is a good fucking half an hour's drive, thinking I've missed it. I've missed the opportunity. I should have done. I should have. We were already trading, but I was like, we should have had the shop. That's it now. It's done. There's a shop there. There's fucking 2,500 shops in the UK now, and still growing daily. There's new vape shops opening in the UK. Yes, there's shops shutting now as well, which I don't think is a bad thing, and I think that's some of sorting out the wheat from the chaff situation. But it's just been a mad journey, mate. One that I've enjoyed thoroughly, one that's made me cry, one that's made me laugh, one that's made me smile, one that's angered me to the fucking worst anger I've ever had in my life. It's just like a whole mixed bag of emotions on a mad journey. But I've enjoyed it in the main. It's been just a mad 6 years, and I've not changed nothing that I've done. I'm satisfied with every decision that we've made, by and large. It is what it is, and we've done what we've done, and I've tried to do the best that I could do it. That's all you can do. And
it's nice to be open and honest with it, and it's really refreshing. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into the nitty gritty, the proper nitty gritty. There's two questions that really shined out to me in this one, and I didn't really want to ask them, but I'm going to ask them anyway. And the two questions is there such thing as a vape community? Is the first question. And the second question is, should disagreements be aired for everybody to see, or should it be done privately?
Is there a vape community? Absolutely. There is a vape. It might be disjointed, but there's most certainly a vape community. And I think when you go to the likes of Manchester or Birmingham Expo, 100% there's a vape community there. And even if that vape community is predominantly vendors, vendors community, for me personally, the community's still there. For the amount of people that come and visit our stand, even those that are not spending money, that come to just say hello to you, to Tash, to me, to Adam Rayner, or to Disco, or whoever's on the stand, there's definitely a community there. I think the community is quite, I wouldn't even say it's disjointed. You know what? Again, it's much bigger now than it was 6 years ago on social media. So back in the day, there was a lot fewer groups with most of the same people in them, and each group had its own topic of priority discussion, if you like. And Now there's so many more thousands of people doing it. Like-minded people will stay with like-minded people. That's just the way of the world. So you've got groups of people that would sort of fractions broke off from other groups, and the people that went there are the people that are like-minded to the people that are running that group. It's simple. You wouldn't go to a group and not like any of the people in there unless you're an absolute prick and you just want to start shitstorms every single day of the week. I don't very often leave Facebook groups because I just don't think to. But the way that Facebook works now is I don't see none of the shit that I don't want to see. The groups that I interact on come up in my news feed. The people that I interact with come up in my news feed. That's good enough for me. I don't need to delete myself from all the groups. I'm in fucking hundreds of them because people add me daily to the bastard things. But that says even like Dan Rickard, he's got a very small group. He does his live feeds. He has sometimes there's been me, Dan, and three other people on a live feed, just chatting shit, having a rattle, putting the world to rights, talking about mouth to lung, or talking about whatever the topic of the day was. And for me, I'm not ever on here chasing groups with 20,000 people and live feeds with 2,000 people in them and stuff like that. I've joined Dan on a live feed when he's got 6 or 7 people in there, and we've chatted for 2 hours talking utter shit. That's what I just enjoy, mixing with people that I like, and hopefully they like me. And if they don't have to fucking suffer me because they can just fuck me off. It's as simple as that. Um, should people be airing everything as they air?
This one to me made me laugh because in certain situations, yes, 100%. Certain other situations, keep your fucking
Mate, I think there's a time and a place for everything, and some situations. If I went live every time I had a disagreement with someone on Facebook, I'd have been going live a dozen times a day for the fucking last 6 years. Um, and I think I would say that 90 fucking 5% of problems don't need to be aired in public. And actually, Tom, for as much as I fucking rant and rave on my statuses, I could probably count on that hand the amount of times I've gone publicly at someone
yeah.
because it's not what I do actually. I'd rather say what I've got to say to them and it's done and dusted. And actually, most times even when I've gone at someone directly, it's actually a reply to a post or in retaliation to a post or something like that. There's definitely a time and a place, as simple as that. And some things should be public, some things don't need to be public. Um, that's my opinion on it.
Do I give an opinion on this subject? Yes or
Yeah,
no?
yeah, absolutely.
Um, I agree 100% what Paul said. And I believe that there is a time and a place for it. And I think that if it's such an issue where try to say this not sound like an absolute prick. I'm very similar to Paul in the way that if I've got an issue with somebody and I know that person, I will speak to that person and deal with it without putting it on Facebook. But when I believe people should know somebody's being a prick, then it should be out there. You know, there's ways and means to it. We are real people at the end of the day. Whether it's internet and having a laugh on the internet and stuff like that, we are real people. You know, I don't know what Joe Blogs is that like down the street when you meet him at a vape event. There's plenty of times we've read in groups, Paul, where people have said, I'll knock your fucking head off at an expo and I'll do this. I'm sure you've even had somebody say that to you.
Mate, I had a person add me as a friend to abuse me and tell me when they see me at Expo, they're going to knock me out.
And did it happen?
No, and I've never dipped an Expo, mate. I put my stand
exactly. That's my.
I'm leaving myself wide open for some meter to come out and banjo me fucking head off my shoulders.
But what I'm trying to get at is, yes, it's internet, yes, it's words, but somebody to turn around to somebody, I'm not even saying this like Paul's the hardest man here, but somebody to turn around to Paul and turn around and go, I'm going to fucking knock your head off. And then 2 weeks later you're in Expo and nothing happens. You know, you can say what you fucking want on the internet. and you can say what you please. If it offends somebody, that's fine. They get offended. Defense is taken, not given.
Yeah, mate, I can honestly say I've never put nothing on my status that I wouldn't say to someone's face, and I wouldn't, and something that I've never been a keyboard warrior. I might come across that way because I'm very fucking straightforward, but actually, anything I've got to say or anything that I've said, I stand by what I've said.
Exactly.
And the occasional times that I've even said, actually, I was out of turn or whatever, I'd say it to the person as well. I'm not too big to apologise to any cunt. I get it wrong. I have bad days when I've gone off at the wrong person or whatever. There is, I mean, I put a post up a few weeks ago saying that social media has created a generation of fucking lettuces, mate, just absolute fucking morons. And people that I know in real life, and I see them on groups going around like Johnny Concrete, and I'm like, absolute fucking cockends, mate, cockends.
Yeah, and that's my thing is, yes, there's times to say it. Yes, there's times not to say it. But at the end of the day, keep the same energy that you're telling online as you are face to face, because you'll get to that point where you do speak to somebody in real life who's not about to fucking say what they want to say online, and they're just gonna fucking jump down your throat. And that's why, to me personally, yes, it is the internet, but we see these people in real life. So there is a time and a place for it. And as I've just said, people have said a lot of things online who wouldn't say things. It goes back to how we've said plenty of times, Paul. We've shook people's hands who we know absolutely fucking hate us, and said,
Yeah,
all right, bro.
no, but there's people's hands that I shake at Expo that I haven't got any time for. And I don't shake their hand to be a two-faced cunt because I don't engage in a conversation with them. I'll shake their hand, I'll say hello because I'm not an ignorant prick and I was raised properly. So that said, if I've got an issue with someone who come over to me, I'll shake their hand gladly, but then I'd still say to them, what's the crack with this?
Mm.
And it's not about, I'm 42 years old, some more days of rolling around the floor fighting a long gun. If I have to, I fucking have to. I'm not adverse to having a fucking straightener with someone, but it's not my daily. I don't get out of bed every morning and think, right, who can I fucking fight before the fucking sun sets? Because, like I said, I've got 6 kids and I'm 42 years old, and actually, I'd rather just message someone and say, you know what, you're an absolute cock. Just live your life. Let me live mine and fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. So to answer your question, Viv, there's a time and a place for it, mate. There's a time and a place for it.
Absolutely.
I tried to answer that without getting Larry, because sometimes it does rile me up, and I'm not going to get into it because I don't get into this bullshit. I really want to say something, but I'm not going to, because I am a grown ass man, and yeah, that I'll leave it at that. Let's get to other questions on here, and let's get into a bit more of a vaping thing. Steve Greenwood. So Viv did ask that question before, so thank you, Viv, for that question. Steve Greenwood asked a wicked, wicked, wicked question, and the question is, why the sudden research of mouth to lung? Is it because the delivery system and stock coils are better?
No, it's because I believe it's because 2 years ago, mouth to lung was considered completely uncool. So all these people that were sub-ohm vaping and blowing clouds for days, bro, and all that bullshit were probably still smoking cigarettes.
Mm.
Now they're actually saying, you know what, I'm fucking smoking fags and I'm spending 60 quid a week on fucking liquid. I'm buying new mods left, right, and centre. I've bought that mouth to lung device, which replaces my fags. I'm spending 20 quid a week and I can still have the hobby. Because if you consider sub-ohm vaping to the main people, and we'll always have this argument of people saying, "I give up with the lung inhaling device." That's cool. People do. Tasha did. I've got staff that did. Generally, my experience in 6 years is that most people who need to give up smoking need something to replace a cigarette, and that would be a mouth to lung device. I just think if you accept the fact that for most people, sub-ohm vaping is a hobby, and it can be done dual with a mouth to lung device, as I've done for a long, long time. I was on mech addiction every day. I had a mod on me every day. I was building every day. I was blowing clouds every day. But I was mouth to lung vaping to stopping me from smoking. And I think people have just said, actually, they do work and the devices are better. And so when you look at the likes of Ollie Dukes, is a perfect example where he's now probably is even mouth to lung vaping on a rebuildable
Yeah.
over even restricted lung kit. It's just become more acceptable, I think, to use that and just not be like, oh my god, it's not even blowing a cloud, you prick. That's my honest opinion. Yes, the devices have got better. Yes, the liquids have got better. Yes, the coils are better. The delivery systems are better. Everything about this is better. That said, they're only as good as their time. And 2 years ago, the mouth to lung devices of its time 2 years ago were the best that they could be then. Do you know what I mean? So they were still adequate. They were adequate on a fucking vape stick 7 years ago. More than 7 years ago, in fact, because Ava's 7 and I started before Ava was born. So 8 years ago, a vape stick was adequate. It might not have been the best thing. I mean, if you compare it to a device of today's standards, it was shit, but it was perfectly adequate for its time. So I just think it's just become more acceptable to mouth to lung vape. That's my personal opinion. I don't think there's any more people doing it that was doing it. There's lots of people that I honestly believe were smoking cigarettes while sub-ohming that have now decided that actually I'm going to mouth to lung and sub-ohm, and in most cases I'm only going to mouth to lung. My passion for sub-ohm vaping has never been anything more than a hobby, and my passion for any hobby will fluctuate depending on what side of the bed I get out of in the morning, whether that be fucking drones, remote control car, whatever I've done in my life, I'll do it to excess and I'll not do it at all. And then I'll decide one day, actually, I'm going to do that again, and I'll get my mechs out and I'll play with them and I'll build them. And then if I'm busy, I ain't got time to do it. But that's the same as any fucking hobby that I ever do in my life. People that are sub-ohm vaping to not smoke cigarettes is completely different because they're doing it not to smoke the cigarettes. I don't consider mouth to lung vaping a hobby. If I don't do that, I'm going to smoke a fag. It's as simple as that.
100%. 100% agree with that. And as you say, the products of the time were good products at their time. Me personally, for the mouth to lung side of things, I still use my mech because I'm sorry, but you could never, ever, ever replicate a flavor on a mouth to lung that you can with a mech. Never. And that's if I know I want nice, crispy, fluffy flavor on it, that's where I'm going. I'm going to a mech. If I'm using an all-day device to something that's going to give me nicotine to stop me smoking, is a mouth to lung.
You want some fucking flavour, mate? You need to give it. We had a conversation about Nick Salt specifically, not so much Nick Salt. I use menthol, I use blackcurrant menthol, I use Heisenberg, I use bloodsucker, I use Red Astaire, them type of very strong mentally aniseed eucalyptus type flavours. I know for a fact if I med some 80-20 Red Astaire with Vampire Vapes with T Juices Red Astaire concentrate, the flavour off that is next level. It's nothing like what you get out of a mouth to lung. Tasha said to me last night, we stocked the Dr. Frost's 50-50, 612 and 18 milligram. Dr. Frost is probably one of the biggest selling liquids in the last 12 months, generally across most stores in the UK. It's a big brand and it's resale is good. The flavours are fucking banging. They've replicated the 5 flavours in 10 mil. And Tasha's does mouth to lung vape as well as sub-ohm vape. But she was like, oh, they ain't got this flavour right. It's not the same. And I was like, it is the same. It's just, it's not going through the same device. You can't, even a sub-ohm tank. I used, like I said before, I used a Magnus sub-ohm tank for a long, long time because actually it was such a step up from no sub-ohm tanks that it was more than satisfying for what I needed from a sub-ohm device. When I got into mechs in a big way and I was fucking dripping at 0.07, the flavour off that for me was next level and actually something that will never be replicated in any RTA, no matter as good as the Sherman is. And it's fucking, I think the Shermans are the best RTA out there on the market. It's not the same as dripping. And actually, the reason why we've never launched a sub tank is my goal when we started designing the sub tank was an RTA was to replicate dripping flavour out of a tank, and I couldn't do it. And then I was a bit like, I can't launch this and stand behind it when I'm not happy with the product. Now, it's not that the product's not good. For me, it rivaled the Sherman and any other RTA out there that people would claim to be these sub-ohm tank. It just still wasn't. And I still don't get in my head why I can't replicate dripping flavour in an RTA.
Yeah.
It can be done. I know it can be done. And probably one of the biggest reasons why is my ability to communicate with China, quite frankly. But I know it can be done. There's no reason why it can't be done at all. And it's more about getting the big airflow through the tank, but without
Lowering your chimney.
No, there's a few reasons which I'm not even going to talk about, because actually we're still working on an RTA, and I want it to be right. And my opinion is we've had to go to 28 mil to get it to be a dripper in a tank. And really, you've got the convenience of holding some liquid in a dripper. You've got the same convenience if you're if you're swanking with the right setup. So it's more about that. But definitely, you won't never get flavour off anything like you will out of a dripper. Nothing.
Never.
That said, one of the directives, and I keep going on about these, but one of the directives behind this was we need to have a flavour that's not rivaled in 10 ml bottles, and I believe that we've done it. I mean, we've got 4 there. There's another 4 to come. There's 4 going to be dropping straight off, and then another 4 coming thereafter. But the directive was we need 10 ml bottles of Nick Salt that surpasses any other 10 ml bottle of liquid out there, and that was where we started from, and that's what's driven the project along. Not just the same as with the AF. It weren't about let's get 12 flavors out there and start stacking dough. Let's get the right 12 flavors out there, the right branding, the right ethos behind the product. I want to do the same with the Nick Salts. We could have got the Nick Salts out there by now. I weren't happy with the flavors. We've tweaked them. I've had them samples come back through. And actually, one of the samples, which I'm not even going to tell you what the profile is, but even now that I've had them a week, in fact, I haven't had them a week, but this one.
Has that got any salt in it? Oh, you're definitely going to be booming after the show.
Even just dabbing it, I can feel it instantly now. I'm not even joking. That flavour there is fire, but it's not as fire as it was 3 days ago, because one of the other flavours that's in it's actually come through when it's steeped. So I need to go back to him tomorrow and tell him to do it again, because I've tasted these every day. Now the other 3 have got better with age. That one's got better, but for the wrong reason. I mean, the flavours are coming through more, but it's just one flavour's in there that's coming through too much for my liking. So, yeah, and we'll hold it off if it's not ready to be even sampled at Expo. It won't be ready, but that's what the goal is. That's what we're trying to do. But I just want to do. I just would rather do it right than just rush it out there to say, "Yep, we've got a salt range out. We're on it." That's just how I've always done everything, mate. You know that.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So we got a few more questions. We're gonna kick over 10 o'clock tonight, because I've got a few more questions I want to go over as well. So if anybody wants to stay around, you can stick around. We're sticking around till after 10 o'clock because we've got more questions to ask. Pixie asked some really good questions. If I do miss anybody's questions, I do apologize, but obviously I want to do is kick this off as a normal section of the show. Maybe not as long, but I do want to keep this on as a section because it is nice to get some feedback from you guys to what you want to hear from us. Pixie asked three questions. And what mod are you most proud of? What's your favorite to use that you have designed? And what endless tube would you change and why? So we'll start with the first one. What mod are you most proud of? So which one was the release is your most favorite proud of?
I think that Empress,
because of it being 27th.
Because we were like on that 2700 thing first, mate, and we get picked to the post. I'd beg to differ. We had the stock in the UK. We just had we put the launch for Expo and whatever.
And we had the design out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd got product in the UK. We'd got 1,000 mods in the UK, done and dusted, package ready to go. But just the fact that for such a small company, the downside to that was I believe that we were on to 2700 too early. And the new mod that we're working on, 2 mods. We've obviously got the Pandemonium that won't be ready for Expo, and it just won't, because I'm not happy with the prototypes and we're waiting for that to come back. and we've changed it from a 25mm tube to a 28mm tube, because that way I think any issues that I've got with it can get ironed out straight away. I just said earlier we're working on the RTA, sub-ohm RTA, which would be 28mm. So I just decided, you know, the style of that mod, one, if we do a 28mm RTA, it'll fucking work on that perfectly. But two, any issues that I've got with any niggly problems we've had with the prototype, which are niggly, but I just want it to be right. I don't want to put something out there and people pick it apart for the wrong reasons. Yeah. I'm happy for them to pick it apart because they don't like it, they don't like the way it goes together. But if there's anything that can go faulty, I want to iron it out. And in order for us to do that, I didn't want to release it in October just because. And if it released in November, so be it. We missed Expo. We're working on, I'll give you an exclusive here, we're working on a box mod. But then that's all I'm going to say, because actually this box mod, there's nothing on the market, I don't believe, like it. It's flexible as fuck. And it's sick. So that's in proto stage at the moment, and
that's all you're fucking getting.
I mean, that's all I'm going to say, because actually there's nothing out there that I know of that works in the same way that this works, with the ease that this does what it does. And then also I'm looking now whether we do a 25mm cleaner in 21700. And just sort of upgrade that whole series of cleaners. I mean, to be honest, we'd probably never do the clean again, just on the basis that the cleaner comes stacked. You can run it single, and it'd be 2700 single or stacked.
Yeah.
21700, sorry, and that's because the 21700 battery now is available mainstream, and it's fucking sick, and it works exceptionally well. So that's what's going on at the moment. So although we released this year the ME and we released the Emperor.
And I'm gonna say that is my favorite mech of all time. I'm just gonna put it out there. Honestly, this for me is perfection, and the reason I like it is not just because it's dinky. I love the curves on it. I love how it works. I've got the cloud cap on it, and that's not because I'm up Paul's ass. That is generally, honestly, the only mech that I would say, if you said to me, use one more mech, and that's what I'd use. I love it. I love the way it works.
I knew the pictures of it when I first drawed it up, and you're going, yeah.
Like, because I was like, in that little bit, because I remember I said to you, in that bit like the Empress, and then when you sent me the actual look of it, and you sent me it, and I was like, fuck me, because I honestly think it's one of the prettiest. Because obviously you can sit it with the Slam 22, but I think that is one of the prettiest mods ever, and that fucking plating on there looks fucking fire. So anybody that wants to turn around and say Tommy up Paul's ass, you can say what you fucking please, because I love that mod.
My favourite mod to use out of everything that I've designed is the single Dirter. It's not stacked, it's single.
But why isn't the V1?
It's one of its own, in it. What did Tash say? Sorry.
No, I'm saying my favourite one to use, not the one. My most proud one is definitely the V1.
You just said it. Empress. That's
well, I think I'm like the V1 absolutely was like what put us out there, and I was actually talking to someone. I was talking to Mervyn Cho, or whatever his fucking name is, and actually Mervyn's working on some product for Expo that he's gonna be sick, because that geezer can put some coatings on mods that's just next level. So we'll have around about 50 LEs at Expo in October. We'll probably end up with about 40, because Tasha's digged about fucking 10 of the cunts already. But I was talking to Mervyn last night, actually, and he was saying to me, like, he says, I remember when you dropped the first, he bought a V1 set. He said, I was so disappointed with the RDA. He said, because I really like you, and the RDA was shit. And I says, and it was, and actually, it was mad. I launched that mod, mate, with an RDA that I'd never used. I've never told anyone that before. Like, I've seen the pictures. I drawed it how I wanted it, and then we got that close to not sort of being released, but then not being released in time. And I put every fucking money we had into it at the time, and I was like, I need to get it out. I need to sell it. And as soon as it come in, and I was like, it was fucking awesome in stacked. It was shit in single, and I was like, fuck's sake, man, the chamber's too big, and look, we started working on the fucking slam straight away. I was like, I need to change the RDA. I need something that still fits that cap. So, I mean, the deck, but we need to be able to sell another cap. And then we launched the slam pretty much thereafter. And then we brought out the Hourglass, which still is one of my favourite RDAs for flavour out of every RDA that I've ever used. And I'm saying it can always sound pretentious when I'm sat here going, yeah, my best RDA I've ever used is this, this, and this. Now, the truth of it was, when we launched the Hourglass, the way that it was machined inside, it meant that it could rise from the deck by a gnat's bollock, and it used to drive me fucking mad. And actually, then when we launched the next series after that, the deck was exactly the same. The only thing was we took that lip off the very bottom of the deck.
Yeah.
We used to have a lip on that the cap actually locked onto, and I was like, you know what, we need to fuck that off and just have straight-sided deck, straight-sided caps, and then they'll all interchange. So you couldn't use the newer caps on the older deck, but you could use the older caps on the newer deck because you just had the little machine recess inside the cap that didn't matter if it was there or if it wasn't. But for me, look, there's various stages throughout that. And I said to Mervyn when I launched that first one, I was learning as fast as everyone else. And the truth of it was, mate, I had a massive collection of Limitless. I was using various RDAs because Limitless didn't even have a fucking RDA. And my go-to one at the time was probably the Twisted Messies because it just worked for me personally. That said, I like the Tugboat Slam and there was all different caps that I liked, but the Twisted Messies seemed to work for what I wanted it to do. But then when we launched the clean mod, again, was something for me where that set us apart from every other mod company in the world because of our price points at $59.99. And even the first one that we launched with the RDA was 100 quid, $99.99. When we launched the V2, it went up to 120, I think, because we changed the top caps on it and we changed the deck, and it come with the newer deck and it come with the newer top cap. And we've done the V2 Endless Clouds, which actually still to this day is one of my favourite RDAs for pure airflow because the flavour's good and the airflow is just mental on it. But when we launched the clean mod, I just remember that whole expo weekend of people coming over. And that was obviously the first time we'd ever done any exhibition. And the amount of people that come over and was like, oh, let's have a look at this mod then, Paul, sort of paying lip service to me. Who got it in the hand and was like, no way, man, fucking hell, that feels like feels like I've got something in my hand. It was heavier than the rig. It was 25 mil at the bottom. There was nothing even 25 mil out there apart from sleeve mods at the time. So but because we retained the same switch, 25 mil tapering to 24 mil, it actually had more meat on it than any other mod on the market anywhere in the world when we launched that mod. Then we launched the cleaner 8 weeks after that with the stack section, 25 mil. We were the first mainstream company to launch 25 mil RDA. We were the first company to do 24 mil, 25 mil on the same deck. We've done so many things now because I know that Knucklehead Vape's done the same, pretty much copied our deck, and he's comes with a 25 mil cap and a 24 mil cap, and it's the same deck as ours, but he's got oval holes instead of round holes, so it's not a copy, but in essence, it's what we've done. But you know what? I'm not here to slate anyone that's copied anyone that's copied anything, including Twisted Messies who copied our V2S deck. And I must say that because we had that deck out there before the Twisted Messies Squared come out. We launched that side positive, side negative before anybody else.
Yeah, because I remember because you had it a copper post. The original deck had the copper post, didn't it?
Yeah, copper post stainless deck, and it was just called the V2.
And then you got it all
the V2 deck, and then I ended up calling it the V2S because we had it silver plated, and then we started silver plating everything across the board. But actually, when we launched that, the V2s, the Twisted Messies Squared weren't even a thing when we first started working on that, and we certainly launched that deck before the Twisted Messies Squared was available. Yeah, probably. So I mean, all them milestones that I believe as a small company, which was pretty much me behind Endless. I'd sit down with Tash and say to her, "Oh, what do you think of this?" And if I'm being honest, 9 times out of 10 she'd be like, "I don't know. You do whatever you want to do." Now there was times where she'd say, "Well, actually, I like the shape of that, or I like this, or I like that." But genuinely, it was me sat at my desk going, what do I want to make my vaping life easier? How do I make it easier? What things do I use in any other RDA or any other mod that piss me off? And one of them was on the Limitless was the fact that the switch was temperamental to say the least. And actually, I've seen a handful of our switches where they won't fire, and you have to turn it a certain way and fire it from a certain point. One of them being on my nephew's mod, and he was like, "Mate, literally, it won't fire there, but it'll fire here." And I was like, "Fucking hell!" But then I took it all apart, and his magnets were broke, and I put a spring in it, and it was perfectly fine. So going from 4 guides to 6 guides on our switch improved the switch. Having the top cap removable meant we could stack the mod. We were the first mainstream company in the world to put a stack mod in a box and sell it as a kit. We were the first company in the world to sell 2,700 mods. We were the first company in the world to mainstream sell a 25mm RDA before anybody else. We were the first company in the world to make a 24mm cap to fit that same deck. And all these milestones that we achieved as me, in essence, I'm proud of the fact that people were chasing what we were doing. Even people that I knew I'd spoke to on a level of friendship, forgetting their involvement in other companies, were actually picking my brains, and I know that now, including the drop of the 2700. And I've never ever been bitter about that. I always used to think, even down, mate, I can remember messaging China and saying, I want to make a stack mod, and them being mortified, saying, you cannot do this, it's dangerous, it's a pipe bomb, it's going to blow up. And I was like, listen, you don't need to worry about the calls because you cannot bill for shit. Because some of the calls that they used to send me pictures of going, oh, Mr. Paul, we've got the mod working. And I was like, mate, who the fuck's called that mad fucking mad? But actually, when we launched that, I think it was quite controversial because there was so much lack of knowledge of stack mods. However, we were also the first company in the world to ever put instructions in a mod set and say, this is what the mod does. This is when it's stacked. When it's single, do not go lower than this. When it's stacked, do not go. We put 2 sets of coils in with the kit to say, there your series calls, there's your stack calls. And yeah, the blue pig calls. And actually, people have copied what we've done and quite honestly done it better than us because they've got these bigger, they're part of bigger corporations. And if you look at the amount of, like, we were the first people, again, to say we are manufacturing an authentic product from China. And quite openly, it was on the website, it's still on the website, and it says that we're using state-of-the-art machinery in China to bring you a product that is cheaper than anybody else. Now, actually, even though Vapors Cloud is a big company and they sell worldwide, their price point is different to ours. I've never considered Vapors Cloud a rival of Endless in any way, shape, or form. Their price point's higher than ours generally, but it's somewhat like there was Watofo with their mod. There was us, CCC, sort of come and went. And actually, me and James spent many hours talking, and we were both doing our own thing at the same time. And there was never no fuck you, I'm not talking to you. Me and James spent a lot of time talking, and I consider James a friend. I don't speak to him very often. I haven't seen him. I know he had personal issues and whatever, but then Vapors Cloud was the next step after that. Then AV was, and them sort of Ilka mods were the next step after that. And actually, I genuinely believe that we changed that whole industry.
100%.
Single-handedly changed that industry to the point where worldwide, so many more companies are manufacturing China.
Affordability was started by you.
No, absolutely. At a point, mate, where that market was booming, and I was personally paying upwards of £1,000 for tube mods and selling one for $59.99. And actually, again, our price point was probably too low for its time because I believe we could have retailed the clean mod at $99.99 and made another fucking 40 quid a mod. We've sold 10,000 mods. You put another 40 quid on there, mate, and it's another fucking £400,000.
We'll reverse the times a bit. I'll build my time machine.
No, but I mean, like, there was people that would not use our mod because it was too cheap. They wouldn't hand check our mod because it was too cheap. And it was, you were what? Yeah, you were.
I was never one. Don't even go there. I was never one. Don't even
You changed
go
it
there.
again. You weren't such an elitist twat as you used to be before. But I mean, but now genuinely, there's people that I knew had bought our mod off me that had messaged me via inbox and said, "Mate, I'm really impressed with this. I'm using a rig which at the time was considered a competition mod. AV was never, although they claimed to be competition mods, AVs didn't hit particularly hard. I personally don't think the rig hit particularly hard. I never disliked the rig. I always felt the rig was overpriced and no different to a tugboat of its time. So actually, I always felt the tugboat for 130 or whatever that was a much better buy than a rig setup for 240. So I was never anti-rig, apart from the fact that that roughneck was shite because it was considered a competition mod. You couldn't put a fucking 20 gauge build in the cunt.
Nah.
Never happened in a million years. So when we started developing our products, that's what I was looking at. What do you want out of the box this mod to do? And actually, to this day, I've never used a mod apart from a side and a broadside that hits harder than a clean mod. Now, there's lots of mods that hit as hard, and I hate that fucking term. I normally say it conducts because that is all it's about. It's about getting the best conductivity you can out of the switch, the mod, the threads, right the way up to the RDA. But actually, I've not, apart from the soy, which was an ingenious switch design, there's nothing else I've used that hits harder. And anyone that says it doesn't is absolute fucking mental. And it could be because it's just the placebo thing of, oh, this one has to work better because it's
£1,000.
exactly. I've had scoundrels, mate. I've had all them mods. The scoundrel hit well. I genuinely, you had a scoundrel yourself because I bought it off you. You had my pants down because you sold it
I
more
didn't
than
sell you
fucking
mine.
sell you
I didn't sell you
motherfucker.
mine.
Oh no, I bought Dales and James. No.
Yours.
Oh yeah, you already flipped yours for fucking big. Oh, you cunt. Yours was gone, mate.
Mine were gone. See you later.
But I mean, the scoundrels worked really, really well, and it was a one-piece mod really because of the way the switch went in there and everything else. It worked really, really well. Did it work better than the clean mod? In my honest opinion, no, it didn't. And anyone that's got an endless mod that isn't conducting properly, it's not because it's a shit mod. You need to clean something, you need to do something to it. Something can't right with it because they work exceptionally well. So I'm proud. I'm actually proud of our whole journey for the last 3 years. I was proud of the fact that when we launched the mod, we launched it with 12 colours. We launched it with an RDA. We've done everything I felt we needed to do it properly. It's easy to knock out tube mods. And quite honestly, had I have thought about the 21700 thing 4 weeks ago, we could have had product in October, which we won't have. And it was only really in the last few days where I was thinking, there's enough meat on a cleaner mod to call it whatever the newest version of the clean mod will be. And even to the point where I'm thinking, do we have the hybrid as a one piece that's 5mm longer? So you actually can run it 2650, you can run it 18650, you can run it 2700, you can run it 21700. And if you're running the 700 series batteries, you screw a 5mm extension on it. Now that's what I'm thinking in my head. I don't know how that'll work. I'll see. I will start working on that next week.
And if we see this product in October, someone's getting a fucking slap.
I mean, I've never ever been shy. I've always been too willing to discuss what I'm doing, and it's pretty much on the basis of these big companies are feeling the need to look at what I'm doing and copy me. I know I'm doing the right thing. When AV launched their stackable, I knew that we'd done the right thing 6 months before. And all them people that says, "Oh yeah, you've copied AV," there weren't a stackable available when we launched the V1. There was nothing that came available to stack them on. So I knew when that stackable come out, we'd done the right thing. And actually, within 18 months of that launch of the V1, there was hardly any product I can think of now that couldn't be converted into a stacked. And now it's the norm.
There's definitely things you started, and I think there's a lot of things you did that changed the industry to where it is. I think the industry at the minute is very affordable from your standpoint, as in everything you did your ethos was to be affordable, was to be the best product at affordability. And I believe that sort of set the standard with inside the industry that it is today. So
Mate, I honestly believe that all these Chinese companies, such as the Drop Dead and the Dead Rabbit and all these whatever other fucking things are out there, all these Chinese products have managed to Vandy Vape and all them people were successful in doing what they've done this time around because the likes of us had used Chinese for manufacturing. Because actually the likes of Watofo and all and H Cigar and Tobacco and all them companies that used to make clone product that then said, you know what, we're going to make authentic products. Watofo have only been more successful in later time because China's become more acceptable as a manufacturing outlet for the product. And I believe we changed that because when the likes of Tobacco, of the turbos and stuff like that sold just because they had a fucking fan in them. Every time we took your vape and it had a chuff cap on it and all them things. But actually up until the last sort of 8, since really Vandy Vape launched, they sort of set this tone of Chinese manufacturer. And obviously, when we're manufacturing runs of 500 or 1,000 RDAs, then people are making 20,000 units at a time. I can't compete with Vandy Vape's price regardless because, and then bigger companies now are manufacturing and direct distroing their own product. I'm using someone else to make my product who then gives it to me, makes a margin, and then we're moving it on ourselves. There's just more tiers in the chain. If I had my own sweatshop in China and we were manufacturing, we could bring our price point down even more.
Yeah.
But I can't compete with them. So to be honest, over the last 12 months, some of us not chucking out new product after new product is that China are killing that market, killing it in a good way. I don't mean killing it, they're fucking finishing it. Actually, they're bringing out some really good product for the right money, to the point where I will look at our price points and compete where I can. And I say the 21700 mod will come. It definitely won't. I mean, I've messaged her today to say, can we get any product produced and into the UK in 3 weeks? Now, the downside to that is, I know she can get me product here in 3 weeks. The first time we test that product or when it gets here in 3 weeks. Now, I'm even thinking of, but maybe we can get some protos at Expo for 3 weeks' time that will take a 21700 in single and stacked. The box mod, we're working on that currently, and that's because it does something that, as like I said, nothing. I've not seen anyone do it with the way it all works on paper. If it works on paper, I know it can work. It's just got to be manufactured right, and it's fucking clever and it's cool as fuck.
I'm trying to make you keep it silent here. I'm going to switch conversation in a second.
That's all I'm saying. So that definitely won't be available for October, but it will be. Hopefully, will be available before Christmas. That's sort of when I'm looking to do that. And then the Pandemonium, again, it won't be ready for October just because I didn't want to launch something. You know what? With the Pandemonium, people know it's fully threadless. There's nothing. People have had more than enough time to go away, and we've been talking about this mod for the last 7 months. And in fact, the first time I discussed this mod with anyone was in February. So 9 months ago, 8 months ago. To the point where we've had 16, 20 proto samples into the UK and we've used them and fucked about with them. There's been issues on a few of them that I'm not happy with because I know that will be an issue across the board because it's happened to 2 of the mods that I had. So it's just machining them issues out there, but still keeping the ability for it to be fully threadless. Because it's so different to anything else that's out there, it's got to be right because it'll get torn to fucking bits if it's not. So I'm not about rushing it out, mate. I'd rather, and even if someone drops a fully threadless mod next week, I'm not asked. To me, it's not about a race. It's about doing it right. And like I said, I haven't even got the nothing like the resource that Vapors Cloud have got. They're a big international company, and it's literally us using our money to fund my fucking mental brainwaves that I have in the middle of the night. That's basically that's
Thanks
it.
for that, Dan. Thanks for allowing to do that.
It makes me sleep, it does.
Well, so we run on the final question. Let me find out the final question. No, the answer to that one. Let's end on. We've got it's 20. I want to say 29, 26 days till Expo.
I ain't got a fucking it's quick.
23 days. I'm lying. 23 days.
Fuck no, love.
22 for us, but 23 days until Friday. Last question I'm going to ask, and Tash can answer this because she don't really go to many expos, so I'm going to ask Tash her opinion as well on this.
Many expos.
No, listen, you know what I mean.
Fuck off, Tom. I just didn't come to Manchester. You know?
I'm pulling your piss. I'm sorry. Are there too many expos, fests, jams, lifestyle events? Is there too many?
I think not.
There's only a couple that count, though.
I think to me, Expo twice a year isn't excessive actually. It's obviously from our point of view, it's a lot of dough to vent twice, and ultimately you're spreading your sales out over 2 lots of spending instead of one. But the reality is that Expo was never going to be the be all and end all of vaping events in the UK because them guys have smashed it without a doubt. They put on the best show in Europe, in my opinion, possibly one of the best shows in the world. It's on our doorstep. It's in our hometown. It's fantastic. On that basis, it was always going to be that other people would try and pull off the same thing in different parts of the country. Jam is something that I would consider vending at because of business to business. Is it the same for the customer? Definitely not, because it's just different. And this is because Expo's become, like the Vapor Expo has become such a thing. It's so hard to fucking rival it from a consumer point of view. Now, every single person that I've spoke to from a business point of view says without a doubt Jam is better for business to business than any other event on the UK calendar. So from my point of view, we're doing this for twofold. One, because I love doing what we do. Two, because we're here to make money. And if that means that we do Jam from a business point of view, then so be it. Manchester for me was an eye opener, man. It was good. It was different. I felt like there was an old vibe in there. I mean, no, answer to your question. No, I don't think there's too many of them. I just think that they're different events for different things, and I actually think over the next couple of years, just the way that people approach them events will be different. If you think back 3 years ago, mate, the amount of people that went there purely for free shit hunting.
Yeah.
And even if the ticket was 50 quid for a day, you come out of there with several £100 worth of free juice, mods, fucking all sorts of stuff, literally thrust at you. I just think now people will start to use these events more as a social calendar and say, you know what, we're going to the Expo, or we're going to go to Manchester, and even for how dead Manchester was from a sales point of view, actually the amount of people that still stopped by and chatted and talked and done, and the same with Vape Fest. I just think people approach to these events will become different. Now, actually, you're saying Expo's 3 weeks away. What have you? I haven't seen anything at all about the Expo.
You've not seen anything? You obviously don't know the pages.
Promo wise,
Yeah.
I don't really believe they need to.
No, but that's what I said to someone today. Is like, people know it's in October. That said, for me, like before, there was, even if it was us doing live feeds, giving away tickets and doing what we've done, it's just all adds to that whole hype of, yes, Expo's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
People trying to sell them on eBay and stuff like.
Yeah, I've seen people shotting off fucking free issue Expo tickets on eBay and stuff, man. It's fucking scummy.
What?
Yeah.
You've not seen it, Tom?
No.
Someone was trying to, a few people tried to sell them. What did you go into the shops and spend fucking 20 quid? You get a free expo ticket.
Easy now.
Mm.
If anyone wants some tickets for business to business day, hook me up. I can sell you some. Got a pile of them.
Fucking free. I'll have to go on.
Bag of tickets. Fucking hell. We don't need your business site identifications. We don't need your business number. Just fucking message.
Everyone.
It's when I get a message from fucking organisers saying, how many tickets bottles? How many more do you need? Fucking hell. No, but I honestly think, because it's obviously the last show of the year, I think it'll go out with a boom. I think this year will go out with a boom, because obviously we've seen, obviously Manchester's now on the event calendar. We've obviously done Fest as well. We did Expo earlier on in the year. I personally don't think, and I will say this on record, but I don't think anyone will beat Expo. I really don't, because it is that show. You know, when you think of what could people do differently to get people in that go to Expo, well, Expo just has that vibe, and maybe because it was one of the first, and it's got that thing around it about free shit, but it's not had that thing about what would you say, a year, 2 years now? It's not really had that thing about it.
I think very quickly it became a bad stigma to be sharing your fucking freebie haul on social media, and then certainly sell it afterwards was cuntish and considered cuntish. And there's people still troll around Expo for free stuff. They're just not so quick to fucking post it up on social media anymore because they get torn their arsehole.
Yeah, it's not come as well. I don't think it was really accepted, but it's been very much less accepted to do that. You do get outed very quickly with it, and you know, I just believe it is that show, and you know, people do turn up for that main calendar year. You know, I know a lot of people that go to different shows just for turning up, but Expo, even for me personally, I believe it's the best show, business wise, and seeing people. It's just huge. 4 halls. It's fucking massive. When I look at shows and I see America, and America for the last 3-4 years have got a show every fucking weekend, and we turn around and go, is there too many shows? And we've really got 6 shows. That's all we've really got, 6-7 shows a year. And you look at America and there's one every fucking weekend. You know, you go from East Coast to West Coast, you know, you're not going to hit the same demographic all the time, but people that are going out to these shows are going every weekend. And that's why, to me, the show side in America died, because people don't go to the shows because there is one every weekend. And for us to have 6 shows or 7 shows in the UK and turn around and ask if there's too many, to me, it's sort of like, well, no, there isn't, because you get that gap. And then people could save up to go to that gap. You know, let's be realistic. It's expensive on a vending side and a consumer side, because you've got to get your hotels if you're not local and everything like that. So the show is expensive. But if you were to turn around to me next year and go, Tom, you said 7 shows were okay. We're doing fucking 24 shows. I'd be like, yeah, that's a bit too much, because it's nice to have it spread out, because you get the hype and people are excited about going to it. And to me, that's
yeah, I do want to look into more further afield.
Say that again, sorry, Paul.
I want to look at doing some more further afield, maybe Germany, maybe Spain. I'm really keen to do the Chinese ones or the Shenzhen. I don't know how that works. I don't know what's involved, what's involved. I just think it's good for us. So, we'll see. We'll just see what happens, mate. I'll just roll with it. That's what I do. So we're not doing fuck all next year, so I feel next year. That's just the way it is. But I just feel like we could go further afield now and
Definitely
do better things than what we could have done 2 years ago or last year even.
Yeah, definitely. I'm up for going to China, but you've got to look after me. Yeah. You got to look after me. You got to make sure I get my meds in. I got to get my fucking shower in. You know what I mean? You literally you've got to be me daddy mummy for a week. You got to make sure you look after me. I'm a 30-year-old man, but I need putting in my place. So just let you know, if you're taking me, you've got to look after me. I need looking after.
All needs looking after. So
Listen, all us men need looking after some sort of it, but Paul's got to look after me.
they're even checking to the hotel in Manchester.
Tash, I think you and Paul should go to China instead. I'll have the kids for a week, and you and Paul. That's not an issue with me. I'm fine with that. So yeah, if you need to look after Paul, we'll let you look after Paul.
If you can't look after yourself, how are you going to look? Because when you stopped here, I know that the kids got up and made you Weetabix.
Yeah, exactly. You see, I need looking after. It's I'm sorry, Paul, but it might be me and Tash. I think that woman's touch that I need. I need to be mothered. I need mothering. I'll be sat in the background going, "It's fucking summer." Well, before we sign off, I need to get our status of the week up for Paul's status of the week. I'm never gonna do it now. Now I've got it, I'm not gonna ever forget it. So we're gonna do status of the week and before we end the show. And I'm sure you've had some good statuses up this week as well. Maybe from next week as well. Last week, sorry. The one today was the good one. And it's the public notice. And it's the hashtag that got me. The fucking hashtag. And I'm all for advertising e-liquid in slutty poses and few clothes, but please ensure the backdrop is remotely tidy. Hashtag looks like a trap house. Hashtag Trump. The hashtag looks like a trap house fucking got me. I was sat there and I was like, fucking hell, Paul's down with the kids.
I was looking into this morning, and the same trollop is probably the best word to describe her. I don't know, just a vapor.
Need to fucking delete her.
No, she's not even necessarily dressed like a slag, actually. But she blatantly stood in the same place and changed outfits because she got this liquid in the hand on that one and this mod in her hand on that one and whatever. In the background, it looked like there'd been a fucking fight. And I was like, seriously, you're there with your fucking nails, your hair, your makeup done. Your house is a fucking shithole, look. Now, I got sent a picture, right? When I had the 50 Shades of Burn page, I got sent a picture. And it was like this woman was dressed like a prostitute in the shittiest. When I say a trap house, mate, people who take crack would not take crack in this house. It was fucking disgustingly, shockingly bad, and it was someone we knew. And I was like, oh my god, and I couldn't post it. And it was the picture of the internet that would break the internet. It was fucking atrocious. I have never seen mess in someone's house as bad as, not even on these. It looked like a hoard, these hoarding programs where they're fucking hoarded shit for 60 years. Oh my god.
I could get it up again, actually.
And it was just shocking. It was absolutely shocking. And it was someone that we knew, and I couldn't post it. And I was like, what the fuck?
Abby, will you clean our fucking house? Fucking hell. Well, on that note, we're out of here. Thank you ever so much for everybody who joined in this week. Remember, we have got the Stoptober stuff going on the website. So if you do know somebody or give them the information that is there, we are going to be doing the bundles. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you do share it, and we'll be back next week.
And go to www.shade-he-vaping.co.uk. Subscribe to notifications. Tomorrow, as soon as the Dead Rabbit RTAs go live, you will get a notification of the live. You need to be fast because I know we've got all the colours, but we've only got a fucking handful of each colour. So people need to be quick. They're going to be $29.99.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to subscribe, go into the top left-hand side of your browser, and you can click the notifications, allow it, and it'll obviously just pop up on your screen. You can do it on Android phones. You can't do it on iPhones. Just letting you know for Apple products.
On iPhones or tablets, but you can do it on an Apple Mac.
You can do it on Apple. So you can do it from Apple.
Yeah, I've done it on my own Mac, so actually I'll get them fucking notifications the same way. So if you're on iPhone, you can't do it. If you're on an iPad, you can't do it, but you can do it through any Android device and then any laptop, PC, whether that's Apple, Windows based, whatever.
Perfect. Right, guys.
I think it has to be done through Chrome as well.
Yes, it is Chrome. Yes. Yeah, Chrome. I've got the notifications as well, so I've received the notification. I'll probably post a picture as well when I get the notification, so you need to be on it, but do get your notifications up to be the first.
Yeah.
So guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining and enjoy the rest of your evening, what's left of it. Peace out.
Peace.